Welcome to another episode of MidByte Hour. I'm Ryder CX, and I'm just celebrating a day where I am not dead.
Aren't we
Because
all?
I think I'm doing a good job of hiding it, but I've been dealing with a raging bitch of a cough in the past week. Like, it literally just wants to kill me. And I'm like, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter, you know? Put me in the army and then I'll defeat everyone, no problem, you know? Like, no cough is going to get the best of me. So, that's my mood right now. And I can see Zach is feeling equally brave with his very is that a Christmas sweater?
No, it's
Or
my
is that...
SpongeBob shirt. SpongeBob. It's my SpongeBob merch.
Oh, I see it
You couldn't
now.
recognize the G Love? Come on,
I
you're supposed to know
saw
Battle
I
for
saw
Bikini
the
Bottom.
flower from like an angle, and I was like, Christmas.
Yeah, it's my Battle for Bikini
Listen,
Bottom
listen,
merch.
listen.
Not plugging my own merch, but you know.
It
I
is
mean,
the
like,
Christmas season, right?
SpongeBob
I get
merch
it. I
is
understand.
Very, like, yeah, actually, like I spent all day listening to Christmas
Yeah,
music.
I've been doing that
which-
since November 1st.
I got some like Christmas decorations in this little tub here that are coming out on the 1st of December, so I'm excited to pull all of them out.
I mean, like, 'tis the season, right?
Your cough was like, nah,
I
you're not
just-
gonna
I
complete that. You're not gonna complete that
I
sentence.
deserve that, to be honest. That was definitely a very cheesy, cringy thing to say. But anyway, today's topic is, I guess it could be related to this season, I guess, but not really. So I think we've been talking about a lot of video games, and something that I'm sure everyone is fully aware of is the concept, the idea of a video game movie, a cinema.
Really?
A movie, so
A
fancy.
movie? A full blockbuster release?
Yeah, you know, with like a full script.
Why is
a
Hollywood wasting their
cast
money?
and everything? You know, I just heard that Miley Cyrus is being cast for Amy Rose in Sonic 4, so there we go.
So
Man,
Amy
not
Rose is
Taylor
gonna sound
Swift?
like a dog with a rough voice, huh? You're gonna sound like a chain smoker, huh? Amy Rose, the
Sonic.
chain smoker.
Sonic, I love you, Sonic.
What? She does not sound
Chocolate,
that raspy.
chocolate.
Come on. All right, but yes, the video game movie is increasingly becoming more mainstream. You know, I would actually consider it almost an epidemic in a way, because I don't know, they just seem to be popping up more and more often. You know, I don't know if it's because I'm older, but I feel like video game movies are just like on the up and up and stuff. And a company in particular that I think is going to have a big role in their increased popularity in the next decade or so is Nintendo, because Nintendo, who I'll be honest is kind of like the last company I expected to really like dive into the movie business, is gonna be responsible for some of the most successful movies coming forward. You know, so I
For
thought
now,
it would be a
for now.
really
For now.
for now.
For now.
All right.
I'm interested to hear
I
that.
can't think of a company that's gonna have bigger movies.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear that elaboration.
Listen, I love Sonic, but like,
And look,
I think the Mario
I
movie-
like Zelda, but I'm just saying.
Are you thinking?
We'll get to Zelda.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there, buddy.
we'll get to Zelda. Calm your tits.
Oh, the tits are not calm.
But yeah, Nintendo is a company that has historically been very, very, very careful when it comes to lending their properties to outside companies. And as we all know, the movie adaptation is a very easy thing to screw up. And so I know that I think the only Nintendo movie that's really like really noteworthy, you know, this besides like the 100 Pokemon movies beforehand, is the original Super Mario Bros. Movie. And I will say that movie does have its fans.
Tread lightly here.
But-
Tread very lightly.
Yeah,
here.
you are on thin ice with some people, so be careful.
I've never
Do not
seen it,
mess
so I
with the
can't
original
comment.
Super Mario Brothers movie fans.
Some people say that movie's better. I have seen
Some
people argue
people
that
that
original
movie has
really
a
not.
cult
better.
following. That movie has
Yeah.
a huge cult following.
You know that like phenomenon I feel like is a thing that something can be so bad that people love it.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what we have here with the Mario movie,
yeah,
the original.
and
Like I said, I've never seen it, but just judging from like the outside, like just look at the Mario Brothers. it's
yeah, I mean, people like I think that's kind of what people like. Not always said. Like people have always said that that movie's bad, but some people have said, or a lot of people have said that that movie, even before the new Mario Brothers movie came out, that that movie is bad with like a charm to it.
It's got a
Like,
charm to it. It's got like
yeah,
a creative like weird twist for it. Like it does something with video game like the Mario. It tries to do something with the Mario property that hasn't been done before on the big screen. And like even though yes, the effects and everything is bad and the story's pacing is all over the place, it can be respected in a sense of trying to do something with the Mario Brothers.
yeah.
so you're basically saying that you're glad they tried.
I'm not saying that. Miyamoto's definitely saying that by saying that he really enjoyed the movie.
I mean,
He does.
He
just
really
think-
likes the movie because he likes that he thinks it's really creative. It did something with his property that he found bizarre and creative, and that's why he liked it.
Yeah, I think like it did. I think it also was the movie that kind of did start the trope of video game movies bad. I think it is the one that kind of started it all. I know, like, was
Pretty
it Resident
much.
Evil? Is it Resident Evil like that came after that kind of?
Resident Evil came after that, and
It did. It was a movie for sure.
it was a movie. I think a lot of people go into video game movies expect what we have now with video game movies, where they're direct adaptations of the stories that we know and love, and that's why when you go back and watch those older movies and it's like a completely different story, same characters but different locations and whatnot, they just don't really click with it because it's just like, okay, this isn't how it was in the games.
Well, there's also, I mean, especially back then, a lot less to work with.
Oh yeah,
Like now,
definitely.
Mario
Yeah.
is like a state. I mean, even yeah, in the '90s, he was a staple name too, but not as much as nowadays, where like Mario is just known as the child friendly, the fun.
He's the Mickey Mouse of the video game world, technically.
Yeah, and in the '90s, he kind of was, but it was a complete. I mean, first of all, the '90s was a wild time. Like
No, the
I
90s
was only
was
born
huge.
in '98, but the '90s was a weird time. But yeah.
Yeah, Mario is definitely the Bill Gates of the gaming industry.
I mean,
like-
it is the '90s is interesting. I love looking at video game history, the video game wars. It's amazing how like Nintendo came in and they basically had full control over this market, and then just random company known as Sega comes in and he's like, "Hey, we can do what you do, but better."
Yeah, it's very funny how like they're still very head to head, especially
yeah.
in this
Yeah,
particular
yeah.
department. Like they just can never get rid of each other.
No,
matter
no,
what they
no.
do.
I mean, more prominently it was Microsoft versus Sony, but yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, so that was like the only Nintendo movie, honestly. Again, besides like all the million Pokemon movies, I don't really.
I don't really
as
count
movies.
as Nintendo movies. Like Pokemon is a
Yeah.
franchise that's published by Nintendo, but all in all, it is a Game Freak franchise.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't really remember how long ago it was, but the Nintendo decided to greenlight a Pokemon movie, a live action Pokemon movie called Detective Pikachu, and I think this came out around the same time as the Sonic movie actually. So it's kind of interesting how like these two movies sort of like jump started like this huge trend in like video game movies that we're seeing right now. And so yeah, Detective Pikachu is kind of like one of the first ones to really like start that upwards trend in particular. And so do you guys remember how you felt when you first saw like the trailer, like heard about the movie? Like what were your initial thoughts?
I thought it was did they hold on? Because there was also Detective Pikachu video game. Did that come before or after the
That came
movie?
before.
It definitely came
Came
before.
before?
Yeah,
'Cause
it
I
was
think the
like
one
that
thing
was
that shocked me-
2015, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
2015?
I didn't play the game. I didn't really like see anything of the game. I just thought it was wild that Pikachu talked. I thought it was absolutely wild that there was. It was Ryan Reynolds, right? That did.
Yeah,
that
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Ryan
and-
Reynolds,
yeah.
what a weird choice.
Like
for
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone's like, oh, like Chris Pratt is Mario, weird. Oh, will Link talk in New Legend of Zelda? No, Pikachu talks.
As weird as it is, I mean, listening to how he sounds in the game compared to the movie, I can definitely see why they decided
Wait,
to.
he talks in the
He
game?
talks in the game, and he
I
has a
Wait, really?
very similar profile of tone. He sounds almost. I won't say he sounds
Interesting.
exactly like Ryan Reynolds, but the tone is definitely there. So I can definitely see why they casted Ryan Reynolds.
Well, he has a coffee addiction. That's one of his
Yeah,
primary
it's
character
also
traits, right?
my primary character trait. I love coffee.
Out
I
of
drink like 5 cups a
curiosity,
day.
was so is Detective Pikachu okay? So I like. How do I ask this question? So
Uh,
usually, like, there's movie adaptations of, sorry, there's like movie game, like tie-in games
right,
to
right.
movies. Is that what it was kind of supposed to be, or is the
No,
movie based on the game?
the movie is based on the game.
Okay, because I know, like, like the game came out years earlier, but I didn't know if there was a
Mhm.
weird situation when the movie got delayed.
No,
I don't know.
no.
Okay,
I'll be honest, I had not heard of the game until like the movie came out. I just was like kind of like, oh, this is an interesting like um way to make a Pokemon movie. Because if I'm being honest, like if you were gonna say like, okay, we're green lighting a theatrical, high budget blockbuster esque Pokemon movie, I would have expected something a little bit more similar to anime or to like the Pokemon movies already came out. So it's like you star as like an Ash Ketchum like character who gets his like first Pokeball or something and like journeys out to become a Pokemon trainer. I would have totally expected a movie like in that realm. And so I think to this day, even after rewatching the movie, I'm still kind of confused as to why they went in this direction rather than like the direction I feel like the general public would have been more familiar with. Not saying that like Detective Pikachu wasn't a successful movie. I think it was very successful. Um, but I felt like that concept I'm talking about here would have been more successful, in my personal opinion.
The
yeah.
animated route.
Like, well, just doing like a movie where like you're following like a Pokemon trainer.
Mm.
So it's like you're following like someone who is like
I
10 years
mean,
old, who's
I
leaving his house, and becoming a Pokemon trainer.
I
You know,
just
going to gyms,
I don't
battling against like these gym masters. You know, just like a more traditional like
I guess
Pokemon
the
storyline, I
way that
guess.
I view it is Detective Pikachu. I view as a very like I don't know, like a very guinea pig ish type of game where they're trying to test the waters and see what they can do that's abnormal for Pokemon and people would kind of be into. So I'm assuming when they heard like the rumors starting up about the Sonic movie and how it was going to be live action, that Nintendo was like, okay, well we don't want to do anything too drastic, so we can't really like say, all right, let's make a live action Mario movie or something like that again. Um, so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, there's this live action Sonic movie coming up. Maybe we could test the waters of something live action that's not too big or too small for us, sort of in the middle, which is what Pokemon is. It's like it's big, but like it's not too big or too small enough to where the movie, if it were to flop, it would hurt them drastically. So I'm just assuming that they decided that, hey, let's try this out, and if it's successful, then maybe we'll do another one, or we'll take other properties and make it live action. I view this as just a way of Nintendo testing the waters with how their properties would be portrayed in the live action setting in Hollywood.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also just for some reason in my head, like because I've played Pokemon games before, so like I know for the most part how they're structured, and I'm just not sure how well that would translate to a movie.
All right.
I'm
That's a
not
fair point.
I'm not too sure
I
how
could see
I mean
how
like
it
I can see
could.
the
I
avenue
could
of
see
a
how it
trainer.
could, but you would have to like, I don't know. You'd have to do a lot of recording.
Yeah, it's just like with like the Mario movie, right? It didn't stick to like the exact Mario formula. It took creative liberties by throwing in some other stuff like the kart racing and the DK fight. Like it took in other elements because I don't know how well like a translation of a 2D or 3D Mario game would kind of work. So they have to throw in some other elements. I feel like they would have to kind of do the same with Pokemon, where it's not just okay, you're going and facing all these gym
Yeah.
leaders. Like they'd have to throw in something to make it a little more.
And if they were to
Enjoyable
do something like
watch.
that, I'd imagine that it would become more of a like a trilogy series rather
Yeah,
than just one movie.
I mean, hey, that would just be an excuse to like make more movies and make more money.
I
So
suppose.
like where do you really go for like a Detective Pikachu 2?
Well, I mean,
They
play
made
the
a game.
They
Yeah,
just
they made a
recently
game. It
came out with it.
recently.
I'm not playing the game.
Oh yeah, no, it looks
The
like,
game that they
hot
announced
garbage.
back in like 2017 and then just never did anything with it until now.
Yeah, so I mean, they could do a movie based off of that, but
Well,
I don't know.
I remember
mean,
there being rumors of them writing or getting ready to produce a second one, and Nintendo pulled everything out. They said no, don't make Detective Pikachu 2.
I mean, I'm guessing if
At least I'm
Mario
not sure if
movie
that's
and-
going back into development now, but the last I heard of it, there was supposed to be a second one, and Nintendo said nope, don't do it.
I mean, like if they've been planning the Zelda movie for years, which I think they said that Miyamoto was in talks for years about this Zelda movie, and obviously Mario movie's been in development for a long time. Yeah, I feel like having a sequel to a movie that didn't, I don't think it got received. I don't know how it got received. Like if it got received like poorly or mediocrely, whatever. But I don't think it was like something that people were raving about.
Oh no.
So
I mean, the only
feel
thing
like-
that people would have cared about from that movie was the limited edition Detective Pikachu Pokemon card that you could have gotten from going to see the movie in theaters. I think that people would have cared more about that than the actual movie itself.
Yeah.
So like we were all supposed to watch this movie before we did this talk.
I
did.
Guess
I totally
who was the
did. I
one
totally
that
did.
watched the movie. It was me.
Yeah, I may have forgotten. To be fair, though, we got a decent amount of mileage on Detective Pikachu.
We did.
We did.
Yeah, but like yep. So I did my homework. I watched the movie. You know what though? I kind of treat it as like a self-care night. So it was after work, and I bought myself like Chinese food, and I bought myself a tub of ice cream. And I was just like,
you
okay,
chose
time to watch
Detective
Detective
Pikachu. Of all the movies to just feast in front of a TV, your ice cream, your Chinese food. Let's watch some Detective Pikachu.
I mean, why not? It made the experience more enjoyable for sure.
Oh yeah, the ice cream. Yeah, the ice cream.
Totally.
Chinese food. Oh, okay. Now you guys got me hungry. That got me hungry. Oh no, don't do that to me. But yeah,
But like okay, so like I saw this movie back in theaters when it first came out, and when I was watching it again this past week, I realized that I had no recollection of what happened in the movie at all. So
It's
I was
a
like, is this a good sign or a
mystery.
bad sign? It's probably a bad sign, to be honest. And so I watched the movie, and I remember why. So it's not a bad movie. Like I feel like the movie definitely like had a story to tell and was trying to like kind of like tell it in its own way. And I'm like, it definitely tried to have some heartfelt moments. Like, oh my god, I can't remember what the main character's name is.
Isn't it
This
like
is like how
Tim?
much I
Isn't
did
it
not.
I know
Tim?
the actor who plays. I know
Todd?
the actor. I don't. I think
It's
Tim. I think
it's Tim. It's got to be Tim. I think it's Tim.
All right, Tim. We'll just call him Tim.
You
people could be
watched the
really mad
movie,
at
you don't
us.
even know the main character's name.
Yeah, come on, Ryan.
Well,
you did your
to be
homework.
fair, I don't think many characters like said his name.
If it's Tim,
Like,
if it's
he's-
Tim, I'm gonna laugh.
All right, I'm gonna look it
I'm
up.
doing
because
that
I don't
right
wanna
now.
get
I'm doing that right
dragged
now.
On like, yeah, I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to get dragged.
I didn't
by
even
people
watch the
for, like-
movie, and I remember the dude's name.
Oh, it is Tim. All right, good job.
Dave, high five.
All right, so like, I could kind
Such
of
a
like
generic name.
empathize with like Tim's story. So it was like he basically was like, oh, I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer when I was a kid, and
You,
excuse me,
your headphones don't want you
and
to
then he
finish
kinda
this
just,
sentence.
and then he has a very relatable story arc, which is like he kind of like tossed away his childhood dreams to join the ever fruitful world of insurance. And what I found really weird about this movie is that like everyone was looking down on him for like joining insurance, and I'm like, that would not happen in like real life. You know, my parents would be over the world if I was like, if I chose that career field and I was saying like I was happy with it, they would have been like, yeah, Brian, yeah, insurance,
Encore,
all the way, you know?
Encore.
You know? My parents would not be encouraging me to travel out in the wild and hunt for Pokemon, you know. So
Well,
I
in a
just found
world
that to be a
full of
very
Pokemon,
interesting-
in a world full of Pokemon, would that not be what you want
Yeah.
to do?
Like that is the occupation in that world. So going for anything ordinary or
I
boring
get-
is just like what are you doing? Like why not do this? It's like some people like even nowadays like a lot of people like basically Pokemon is like what money is for us. Like if you're not going for a high paying job, people are like what are you doing?
And like, so I get that like in the Pokemon world, that's kind of what makes sense. But like in this movie, I felt like they're really trying to like connect to the real world with through that storyline. So it's like, you know, his mom died when he was like younger, and he's very distant from his dad. You know, it was trying like a tell like a real human story. And well, it's just the pure fact that you're in a world with Pokemon and like people are saying those things about your job. I'm like, I was never like really sucked in to the storyline per se. Like I felt like they were really trying to like meld the two worlds together, and it was kind of like mixed results for me personally. Um, Overall, like I think the whole mystery aspect of the movie was done like pretty nonchalantly. Like it was fine, you know. I will say that like I completely forgot just how furry they made Pikachu. Like,
I mean, he's a
damn,
rat,
he
right?
has.
Pikachu's a mouse, a rat, or something like that. Oh,
I guess
that
Yeah,
right!
he's an electric rat. Yeah, he looks like Garfield the entire time I look at the movie. He's just so fluffy.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like they like overdid it personally.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
'Cause,
want to
like,
fluff him up, right? Give him a nice little,
Yeah.
all the static electricity. He'd probably die, but you know, it sounds like fun.
like it was just a lot of fur. I felt like he was furrier than Sonic. You
Oh
know,
no,
so
certainly. He definitely.
Well,
that
hedgehogs don't have
fuzz-
fur; they have needles, right?
They have fur.
I don't know why, like fur makes more sense on Sonic for me compared to Pikachu. Like that's just a weird thing in my head.
I mean, I don't know. I had in my old job, I had a resident of mine, like I was a dorm advisor, or whatever, and she had a hedgehog. That thing doesn't have fur, so I don't think Sonic should have.
I
fur.
mean,
would hope
hedgehogs
not.
have quills. That's what
Yeah,
they
quills,
are.
like needles or quills,
but
yeah.
they
Yeah,
have,
they're kind of
like-
more described as
yeah.
quills in like the movie technically, but it does look more like fur. So it's it is what it is.
Sonic's not a
But,
real hedgehog, confirmed.
Well,
Oh, he's definitely not a real hedgehog.
but he is a
He's
hedgehog,
way
and I thought that
weirder.
was obvious.
But I'm just trying to think like the movie. I think the central message of the movie was just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Because so basically like I mean the movie's been out for years now, so whatever for spoilers and whatever. But like basically the main antagonist of the movie, I don't remember his name either. So it's like
That one escapes me. All I remember is Tim.
yeah, basically what this guy like wants to do is he wants to like evolve humanity to like its maximal point. And so he basically creates this device that like puts Pokemon in an extremely manic state, and then in that manic state with this device, humans are able to take control of their Pokemon. And so you literally can become your Pokemon, and it's kind of like now we can merge together and be like the ultimate creature, like with the most abilities, the most like potential, the most, you know, evolution wise, the most like highest like status you could obtain. And I do think on paper that sounds like an interesting idea, because like Pokemon, like a big part of Pokemon is like the whole like evolving like aspect of the franchise. You know, it's like Pokemon start like this and then they can kind of go up into this point, and then Pokemon in general is just a lot like very growth focused. So it's like you start off as like a small Pokemon trainer here, and then you go on to become like a master, you know. So it's like I kind of like get on paper like why they thought this was a good idea. But I don't know, I just watched the movie, I was just kind of like okay, you know. I just like, yeah, that was fine, you know. It's just like a fine movie to me. Like it's not like amazing out of this world, and maybe part of it is because I'm not like a huge Pokemon fan myself, but then it's also like you also didn't write a story that was like captivating enough for like a casual like viewer at the same time. So that's just kind of like what I took away from it. It's like on paper I could kind of understand that like it had all these like great ideas, and it like was telling a story that I think makes sense for Pokemon, but yeah, that's my ultimate thought. Also, Ryan Reynolds is just like a weird actor. Like there's a very specific role that I enjoy him in, and this is not one of them.
I think like
Fair.
you brought up a great point that I feel like most video game movies kind of miss is they video game movies are a different breed because they have to strike a balance between being a good movie and representing the video game well. It's like with like licensed games, right? They have to be a good game, but they also have to represent the source material well. Same thing with video game movies. And I feel like most movies just kind of miss that mark because either they go too much into trying to be reference heavy and all that, but they kind of forget about writing a good movie, or they'll do the opposite. They'll do a good movie, but then they kind of forget about the video game, and it's just like puts it aside. And it's, I mean, like I said, I didn't see Detective Pikachu, whatever, but I don't know if it falls into that category. But from what you're saying, it sounds kind of like they didn't focus like enough on making an interesting Pokemon story and also making a good movie as a whole. They kind of lopsided it a bit.
Dave, what do you think?
I mean, again, I've never played it. I've only watched the movie whenever that was long time ago. But when I was looking into potentially buying the game and seeing if it had any differences between the movie and the game, the story is pretty much, from what I've seen, 1-to-1 what the movie is. So, I mean, I'm assuming they just decided to take what they had for the game and not really change it up too much for the movie, but use it as a way to kind of hook a general audience, because maybe mostly general audiences or people who've never played Pokemon were picking up Detective Pikachu more than the average Pokemon fan, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I remember watching, it's average. I wouldn't say like I wouldn't say like I would want to go and watch it again, or like that I would hope that there's a sequel.
Clearly you did it.
I mean, and I probably wouldn't even say that I would hope there would be a sequel, because there's just not really anything there for me to want to go back and watch. And if you were to do a sequel, how are you gonna do that with the ending of the movie? He's no longer Pikachu. He's back in his human body. Pikachu is now a regular Pikachu.
Yeah, there's just not really any place to go, based off of this like thing. That's why I still am like really unsure as to why they chose Detective Pikachu as like the like idea to like launch a Pokemon movie. I really think they should try to look into like doing something that's like more closely related to like the mainline games. It's like obviously you can't, like, those games are even less story based than like Detective Pikachu.
I mean, you could even do something with the Pokemon Rangers. I could see Rangers potentially working as a live action adaptation. Not many people know what Pokemon Rangers is. Another spin-off like side game for Pokemon, where it focuses on people trying to rescue Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just make a Pokemon Snap movie while we're at it.
I something actually also just occurred to me about like mainline Pokemon style movies. I feel like also because of the fact that the anime exists, I feel like they might be like, it's kind of redundant if we're doing all these anime related movies that kind of do the same thing. Live action, like, it's just ultimately going to be compared to the anime ones, and I just feel like it would kind of a conflict of interest. But to Dave's point, it actually, like, there are a lot of other avenues they could have, because there are a lot of Pokemon franchises like Rangers and Mystery Dungeon. Like, there are a lot of different avenues they can go with it as well. So I think Mystery Dungeon would actually be fun.
Mystery Dungeon would be very interesting, yeah.
Like, no trainers, like just the Pokemon, and have them go on their own little adventure, kind of like, I mean, I'm trying to think, there's like Madagascar, any of the animal kind of adventure movies, like they can do that. It probably wouldn't be live action, it'd probably be like another animated thing, but still be fun.
Yeah, so like I totally would be all up for a Pokemon movie, but I think they've done all they could with like the Detective Pikachu moniker personally. And I wouldn't be interested in Detective Pikachu 2. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be.
Wasn't interested in the first one.
It just doesn't really click with me.
Fun fact: the only Pokemon game I own is New Pokemon Snap.
I heard it's a good one, actually.
It's like,
I never got into
like
Pokemon Snap, so I never picked it up.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those like games that I'm like, I'd like to get into it, but it looks like way too much for me.
You're just taking pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah, like that's why like I was like, okay, that game sounds like fine, you know. It doesn't sound like there's a lot to like understand about that game. Just go in there and take pictures, you know.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like a fun little like thing. Was not worth the $60 I paid for.
Oh,
it, but
I'm
it looks like a
I'm
fun little
certain
thing.
it wasn't.
$60.
But, you know.
Yeah, no. Like I like Pokemon Snap. I played the original at least, but $60 for the sequel, oof. Yeah.
But all right, so like that is Pokemon. That was Detective Pikachu. Yeah, very mixed results overall, but I think it financially did fine. So
It
Nintendo
did
was
hit
definitely,
its
like,
mark. It hit its mark.
Yeah, I mean it's
So-
Pokemon, it's Pikachu, it's you know, it's gonna do it.
They could have re-released like one of the Pokemon movies, and I think it would have done well.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
if they just wanted to make like a 3D version of one of the Pokemon movies, I think that would have done just fine.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which they kind of did.
Potential
They kind
idea.
of did for Netflix.
They did?
Yeah,
Oh well, there's like a billion Pokemon movies.
it's like
so-
there's like a 3D
whatever.
remaster of the first movie. I forget what it's called. Mewtwo
I
Strikes
might check
Back or
that
something
out.
like
That was
that.
like my childhood. So like I never was into the Pokemon games, but I liked the anime, so I would watch that a lot when I was a kid.
I did
I remember
did
owning, like,
follow the
VHS
anime for
tapes.
quite a bit before I just I jumped off the Pokemon train. I wasn't really into it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched bits and pieces of the anime, like Pokemon. Like I played like random game, like it's almost like Sonic. I've played random games. I've seen random parts of the anime. It's all over the place.
It is a very heavy story. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit much.
it is a lot, and I should know.
Well, switching gears. So obviously Nintendo was like, okay, movies, good idea, easy way to make money. So they decided to come out with the big guns next, and that is the Mario movie. And so, did that come out this year?
Yeah,
Came out, yes, like
Yeah.
April,
April.
this
Oh my
year,
God.
March or
it
April
was
this
April.
year. Yeah,
It was April. Yeah,
April.
Yeah. So that came
April
out this
8th,
year, and
the same day that the Sonic movie came out.
what?
The first Sonic movie. It was around the
Oh,
same.
oh, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
not the
confused.
yeah.
Coincidence? I
but,
say
like-
not, but I see what you're trying to do, Nintendo. I see you.
I mean, it was a great movie. I mean, I have my issues with it, but we'll get into that.
Okay, so well, I think the movie grossed like $1 billion,
It did,
didn't it?
yeah.
So it's like
It
historically
did
one
really
of the
well.
best like performing animated movies of all time.
It's almost as if it
Which
has the
I
name
really
Mario on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's only second.
I should have expected it, but I didn't. You know, I was like, wow, it actually like did really well, and I was like, I guess I really should have expected that. You know?
Yeah, it's the second most popular or most like grossing animated movie. It's like right below Frozen or Frozen 2 or something like that. I think it's second place.
The fact that Frozen is above Mario is also very strange to me.
I mean, I'll be
Frozen,
honest.
like, the
Frozen
first
was a
movie.
pretty good movie. Frozen was pretty
Yeah,
good.
Frozen was good, and it did well. Like it
Yeah.
did. It
Yeah.
did. I mean,
Like,
let
it just
go.
doesn't have
freaking
it just
Yeah.
doesn't have the brand power like Mario. So it's like it's very impressive that
true,
Frozen
but
did
it's
that,
from Disney
you
and
know?
Pixar, and
It
it was.
was-
Like,
And,
it
well,
was-
Let It Go was like everywhere.
It was,
for
yeah.
like years and years. So, but yeah, the Mario movie. I know you two watched this movie, so.
Yes, I can participate in this one.
But did I
what were your
rewatch it?
thoughts on
No, I
the
didn't
movie?
rewatch it recently.
I did. Well,
I rewatched on the plane.
Yeah,
Same.
Like a month ago.
same.
I think it's coming out on Netflix soon, isn't it? So like.
No, it should already be on Peacock.
I think
Oh,
Peacock.
Peacock?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Peacock.
Whatever. But yeah, what did you all think of the movie?
I'll let Zach go. He's more of a Mario fan than I am.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I think this movie is good as an introductory movie for a series. Like, if they're going to do more movies down the line, which I do believe they will, I think this is a good starter movie. You get introduced to a decent amount of the characters. You know, you get to see the personalities. I think most of the performances are decently well done. I have my certain characters that I don't care for the performances of, but that's whatever. I'll get into that if we get into that. I I think the movie struggle. Here's the thing. I think a lot of movies nowadays are so overcomplicated. They have too much going on, too many subplots, too many everything. I think Mario movie kind of has the opposite problem. I feel like it doesn't spend enough time on things like developing. It feels very quick. I think the movie is probably 15, 20 minutes too short. Because we don't get a lot of time with Luigi, which is a heartbreak for me. We don't see Mario and Peach's relationship really develop that much. Toad is just a side character, barely even there. And I just feel like there needed to be more time for things to develop in the oven. But I think it's a fun movie. I think there's obviously a lot of Easter eggs and things that make a lot of Mario fans happy. And I think overall it is a solid movie that just needed a few more things to make it a great movie.
Yeah, actually, your point about like there not being enough development is very interesting. Like literally, Mario like storms into Peach's castle uninvited, gets past all these guards. He's like, "I need your help," and then she's like, "Okay."
Yeah, sure, person that I've never seen
Well,
before.
I mean, I think that's
Yes.
mostly because of the fact that she's fascinated that it's another human and the kingdom's in danger and all these weird things are happening. So she's like, sure, why not?
I feel like maybe that just could have been like that would have been interesting, you know. I know they did a little bit like time on like how Peach arrived in the Mushroom Kingdom, but I feel like maybe there's some like deleted scenes that kind of expands more on like her times as a child in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like I feel like that would be interesting to learn more about. Like if they wanted to really make this movie franchise like really big, like they could like make comic books, for instance, where they kind of like go into the lore a little bit more and talk a little bit more about like all these little side plots and stuff that wouldn't necessarily have like a place in a movie unless it was like a 4 hour movie. And I feel like there's a lot of other interesting story tidbits they could go into, you know, to your point.
Yeah, well, that's where I feel like that's where kind of like what I mean by like it could set up sequels really well. That's where I feel like they could explore that in a sequel too, where like a villain's coming to invade the Mushroom Kingdom, and it could be a villain from Peach's past that Mario doesn't know about, and there's a little bit of exploration on life before Mario arrives at the Mushroom Kingdom and when Peach was growing up and all of that. Like they could explore that in future movies. But yeah, I actually really want to hear what Dave has to say. Because Dave was like looking at me and smirking earlier. I kind of want to see what he thinks of the movie.
It's an alright movie. I mean, thinking about it in my head, there's just not really anything I could say about it because, I mean, I don't know. I liked the movie. I thought it was alright. I definitely appreciated what they were trying to do with the characters. I think the performances again were really well set. Charlie Day Luigi is genius. Jack Black Bowser is genius.
Peaches, 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 peaches.
But I will
Sorry.
say, I have a lot of the same issues with the pacing of the movie. There's just not there's too much going on, and it just feels like snap, 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 snap. Get to this, get to this, get to this, get to this, and it really upset me. Sort of in the same boat as you, Zach, that we didn't get a lot of focus on Luigi. Like he was just there, and he got captured by Bowser, and that was it. Like we got to see him a few times, but other than that, it was just minuscule. He was nowhere, and just to name the movie the Super Mario Brothers movie and focus mainly on Mario and Peach and Toad feels like a huge slap in the face to Luigi fans.
Yeah, like as a Luigi fan, like okay, I'll go into a little rant here with the whole Luigi thing. Because as a Luigi's Mansion fan, I appreciated the segment in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
It had a little bit of the Luigi's Mansion music in the background. I appreciated that. But it at the end, okay, minor spoilers here. But at the end, there's in the final section or like the final battle, there's a moment where you see Luigi save his brother, and it's supposed to be this kind of big, like Luigi's being courageous moment. But you don't really see much of Luigi's cowardice. You see a little bit of it. You see hints of it, but that's not like it's something that Luigi overcame. But you don't see how it affects Luigi. Like you don't see Luigi's cowardice get him into really. I mean, you see him run away from a bunch of dry bones, but like shit, anyone would do that. Like so it's like Luigi was very undeveloped, and as a Luigi fanboy, it was upsetting not to see more of him. I really hope they don't diss him in the sequel.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, it is very reference heavy. I will say that the references are everywhere, and just watching the movie, I mean, I got most of the references because I played some of the Mario games, but just thinking about from an outsider's perspective going into the movie, like you can enjoy it for what the story is, but I don't think anyone's really gonna understand the references, and I feel like just not understanding the references could kind of alter the way you look at the movie or how you enjoy the movie because you're not really seeing the movie to its extent. And that post-credit scene is the dumbest fucking post-credit scene I've ever seen in any fucking movie. That was so stupid. That was
Yeah,
so idiotic.
I don't get because like the whole thing is that it's a Yoshi egg hatching, but like I mean
Mm-hmm.
we
We've
saw
already
Yoshi's
seen the
before.
Yoshis.
I think what it's going for is that there's Yoshis now in New York.
Well, yeah, that's
So
exactly what they're going for.
so I'm like, okay, so it's like so that actually does kind of disappoint me. Like if this is setting up for a sequel, that we're going back to New York. I mean, I thought New York and how it was set up and how it was done was decently well in the first movie because it worked with the family aspect or whatever. But we don't need to go back there. We don't need to do a first sequel. We need to explore more of the Mushroom
I was
Kingdom.
actually
See the
I was
places
kind
we
of
didn't see.
disappointed with the the finale. I was a little disappointed with the finale.
Why? Out of curiosity.
Out of
Sorry.
curiosity, okay,
Yeah.
because they could have done it so much better. Like, okay, the way that watching Bowser punch Mario into the freaking like cafe area that they were in the beginning was really awesome for sure. But when they brought Bowser to New York, I thought like he was just gonna have this moment where he's like, "Wait, there's a whole different other world here that I could be taking control of." And like I thought he was gonna start causing havoc in New York, and the Mario Brothers would have had to fight a little bit harder to stop him. But they just went, nope, have a power star, enjoy the finale.
Did you not see all the destruction that was already going on in New York? Like, there's plenty of destruction to go around.
Yeah,
And
but
I
he's not
feel
really. But he was more so hell bent on destroying
I feel like that
Mario.
would have been kind
well
of
that's the thing.
redundant, to be honest,
Keep it
because he was already causing all this havoc in Mushroom Kingdom, and so we want to spend more time for him to cause havoc in New York. I don't know. I felt like
I don't
pacing
know,
wise, I
having
felt like
like a
what they
giga,
did made more
like
sense.
a giga Bowser, like a giant Bowser fight in the middle of New York, I feel like would have sold me on the finale 100%.
I feel okay. 2 points to that. I got two things to add on to that. Firstly, what was the first point I had? Oh shoot, what was the first point I had? Okay, I'll say the second point, then I'll try to remember the first point. The second point to that is I feel like they don't want to do that because of the fact that this movie's gonna have sequels, and I feel like Bowser will return as a villain. I feel
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
Bowser in sequels he will
Eventually.
return. So
Yeah.
I feel like they don't want to spend that card just yet. They might do that in a future movie where, like, let's say it's a third movie and Bowser's, like even more dangerous. You have something to add, Riders? I see you.
What? No, no, you guys can finish because I'm about to basically disagree with almost everything that's been
Oh
said so
no!
far.
All
Oh
right, well,
no!
all right. Well,
I will be the toxic
go
positive
ahead.
stand
Go
today
ahead, because
because
the Sonic movies are still better in my opinion. But go ahead.
Oh god!
I think I like this movie better than at least the first Sonic movie.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But I
And then
appreciate the Sonic movie one for
and
what it was.
the second movie I'm still undecided on.
Well,
I need to I need to rewatch the second movie to like really form a final
I mean,
opinion.
I have
So
a
when we
pretty
talk about the Sonic movies,
I have a
we
pretty
will-
hot take with the Sonic movie, but
yeah.
I mean,
Well, like when we talk about the Sonic movies later on, then like I'll have my final opinion at that point.
I'll say
But-
I think it's unfair to compare the second Sonic movie to the first Mario movie because the first movie is always
Good
the
point.
introductory movie.
Yeah,
So I will say
Riders.
I
Good
don't
point.
think you compare the second one. I
Yeah,
think the first
Riders.
one is fair game.
I'm
But
just
second
saying
game,
that,
I don't
like,
know, the
the
second
fact that the fact that the first movie of the Mario movie, I might like it better than the second Sonic movie. I think is impressive on its own.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think that's like so, and this is coming from I'm a gigantic Sonic fan, and you know what? That might be the reason why I don't like the Sonic movies, to be honest, as much as I would like to. But again, well, that's a topic for another day. When it comes to the Mario movie, I think I was kind of set up better to like it because Mario as a franchise is not really a franchise I go into expecting like, movie level like writing. It's like, oh, the princess is kidnapped. Time to travel to all these like fantastical worlds and eventually get to Bowser to save her. You know, I don't have any expectations going to a Mario movie. Like I just don't. You know, it's like, I mean, sure, Chris Pratt created some expectations, you know, but for the most part, like the voice acting wasn't really like anything like terrible to me. Like it all was perfectly fine to me. But I noticed you all talked a lot about like how the movie didn't focus on a lot of different things, like not enough focus on Luigi, not enough focus on like Bowser, like take over the world or things like that. Not a lot of focus on like all these outside things. I actually appreciate the movie for like really honing in on a focus. I think the movie could have easily gone like the whole other direction and try to include too many things, like too many like storylines, too many like side stories and stuff, and try to cram it all into like one little movie. I think that's like a mistake to make, especially for the first movie in a franchise. I think the first movie really needs to be like a very like focused, slimmed down like plot line, and like you can kind of like branch out here and there, you know, to just kind of like, you know, add a little bit more pizzazz. But if you add a little bit too much, then the movie can get very like standoffish to like casual viewers in particular. But I think the movie was like really honed in on like Mario as a character. Like I don't think I really knew like anything about Mario. You know, I really don't know like who is he? Like what's his personality? Like what does he do? What's his like purpose in life? Like he just seems like a nice stand-up guy in like the games that like always does what's right. Like that's not really an interesting character for a movie, you know. So the Mario in this movie like has ambition, has like goals, has like dreams. He wants to like, you know, make a name for himself. He wants to impress his family. He wants to take care of his brother. You know, he wants to basically just like be more than just a regular guy, which is something that like I feel like a lot of people can relate to. And so, you know, drawing this like ordinary man, and I think the movie like spent a lot of time like really building up Mario as that person, as that everyday man. And so like you build him up as this person, and then you throw him into like the Mushroom Kingdom world, and it's like, well, you can really kind of see yourself in like Mario in particular. And I think I just like really saw a lot of myself in Mario because I have a lot of the same like feelings. It's like I'm here on YouTube because I want to like do something big. I want to do something that like helps me stand out from the crowd, and that like helps me like kind of like show off like what I can do basically. So I kind of like related to Mario on like a personal level. And it sounds very cheesy, like it's like saying it out like this, but like legitimately,
Well, I mean,
I was
that's
like
what a movie's
this.
supposed to do. It's with the main
Yeah.
character. You're
Yeah,
supposed to be able to have an attribute that you can relate to.
exactly. So it's like I went into this like, and like I'm a Mario fan, but I'm not like a big Mario fan. So it's like I never played Luigi's Mansion before. I never played like half of like the spin-offs and stuff. So it's like I don't have a lot of like expectations or like a lot of like wishes in terms of like lore and things like that. You know, I just was just kind of going in there being like, just want a good story, just want like a good like 2 hour piece of cinema. That's all. And so I think for me the fact that the movie focused on Mario really closely and like focused on his character development, you know, beyond over like everyone else's, was kind of like a positive thing for me, because it really allowed him to like flourish. It really allowed him to like really like go from point A to point B in like a very like well thought out way. And so as a result, I think none of the other characters really have like really good development, to be honest. Like Princess Peach is always a badass. You know, Bowser's always a jerk. You know, Luigi has a little bit of development, but like not a lot you can see on screen. But I think that like, and Donkey Kong is always like I don't even know what Donkey Kong was
Like
in
a
this movie,
frat
to be
bro,
honest.
basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like none of the characters are really that memorable besides Mario. But I think Mario's development was just so like nice and so like well done for me personally that it kind of trumps everything. And so I will kid you not, when Mario like got up at the end of the movie and like defeated Bowser, I actually cried. Like I was like that like sucked into it, and I don't know, maybe the movie just hit me at like the right moment in my life basically. You know, I'm like it just kind of hit me in the right moment in my life where like Mario just kind of like came up to me as like this like really empathetic character that I can like connect with, and just seeing him like just kind of like feeling like I actually understand like where he's coming from and what he wants to do in life, and seeing so much of myself in him, like it just made the experience like very positive for me personally. Like I think the fact I had little to no expectation going to movie like really benefited me. But I also know that like I feel like a lot of like really big Mario fans cannot have that experience because you're gonna go into that experience expect wanting like to see more. You know, you want to see more of the franchise that you've grown to love, like throughout your whole life. And I ultimately think that's why like I might prefer this over the Sonic movie because I have too many of those expectations going to the Sonic movie. So, long story short, I love this movie, and I think the things that you guys are criticizing it for, I actually loved. So, it's a very interesting like contrast in terms of points of views that I'm seeing here.
All right, I'm gonna kind of, because I actually I do understand your point. Like I do understand that. I will argue against it though, because it is that very thing that I honestly don't care for, because like it is because I will say both viewpoints are completely valid. Like I'm not saying you're wrong and you're like it's just like differing, like, you know, because maybe it's because I'm a Mario fan, but I'm gonna put another movie into this ring to kind of make my point clear as well. Let's take the first Shrek movie, right? Shrek 1. At the end of the movie, you kind of get a really good grasp, and you see kind of the development of all the characters. Shrek, Fiona, like you see like Fiona learns to accept herself for who she is. Shrek does very much of the same, and like learns to love and appreciate others. Both of them learn to not judge at first sight. Donkey, well, Donkey's just kind of an idiot, but like you kind of like you really do see a lot of the characters equally. You understand them, and even like something like Lord Farquaad is a villain. Like you see his motivations, you see like what he really like Bowser is just the villain because he's the villain. He just wants the power star. Lord Farquaad, he wants to be king, he needs a bride, like there's a little more motivation there. I feel like there's just a little more for every single character. In the Mario movie, it is a lot on Mario. Like it is very Mario centric, and I feel like because of that the side characters don't get enough focus, and I that's why I think like 15 to 20 minutes would have done that. And even with Mario, I feel like his development, it's not entire. Like Mario is kind of the same character throughout the entire movie. It's just that there's the bit where he trains and, you know, with Peach and gets a little more powerful to proceed with the rest of the movie. And he's just kind of Super Mario the rest of the movie, in my personal opinion. At the end, he does have that moment where he is Super Mario and Luigi in front of their father, and that I'm like, that's like, yeah, like, because that hits home the development they needed with the family. But it's just that now the family see Mario and Luigi for who they truly are, and like because they see them actually doing something, like they see them actually succeeding at something. But that's the thing. It is all a matter of perspective as well.
Yeah, and like I will disagree with that because I do think that Mario has like a more gradual like climb to the top. Like you do have that scene with him and Donkey Kong inside of like that whale or something like that, where he, like Mario's like seriously doubting himself, like thinking that he can't do this. So it's like Mario does have like moments where he wants to be great, but he doesn't really know if he can. So there's like more of an unsureness. I will say though, I totally agree. Shrek is a better movie. Shrek is just like A+ movie, like all around.
And I'm not trying to compare the movies. It's
a
like,
big advantage to the Shrek movie is like Fiona is with Shrek for like half of the movie. So it's like the problem with the Mario movie is like Mario and Luigi are separated.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of hard to like have like good development for both of them if they're not like together.
I feel
but
like
then you have like Peach that's next to Mario, and Peach doesn't really have a lot of development. So like I can kind of see your point there too.
I mean, I think this could have been rectified, honestly, if they hadn't have had Luigi been captured so early. Like, because the whole point is Mario is saving Luigi, and that could have stayed the same. It's just that Luigi could have had a little more like rather than having most of his scenes be stuck in a cage, have him be on his own little adventure and then get like captured at the end, like with the Kongs, or like, you know, at that time. So like do something a little more so you can see more of Luigi in action. You see more of his movements, more of his mannerisms. Like have him meet that little Luma character, the like, we're gonna die. Like have him meet that Luma along the way. They could have been a great pairing, and then they both get captured.
Like honestly, like I think it would be really interesting if there was like maybe like a 20-minute short just detailing like Luigi's like adventures in Bowser's Castle. I think that would be really interesting. Maybe not, or like if the second movie Luigi is like by himself again for some reason, you know, having something like that to kind of explore that. But I do think Luigi does deserve some good development in the action movie. So here's to hoping.
Luigi.
Don't worry, Mario movie fans. I'm fighting for you. Like I do like enjoy it, and I mean, even the second time around, I was like, this is still a solid movie to me. I mean, I do think the pacing's a little bit too fast to go through everything. I feel like they could have slowed down just to kind of like let some of the more emotive like moments like really sink in, because you know, as much as I liked Mario's like development, it also was very obvious. Like there wasn't like a lot of like nuance to it, and so like I feel like, again, going to Shrek, you know, it's like Shrek, you know, is like obviously is like, I hate people, get out of my swamp, you know, like that's it, like go away. But you know, if you pay attention to the movie, you kind of like get to know Shrek a little bit more. You can kind of see he's more so like that because he is afraid of what people think of him. Like he knows that people look at him as like this ugly ogre that no one wants to be with, and so he like preemptively like tells people to go away so that he doesn't have to deal with that rejection. And then he kind of feels that like, you know, maybe he kind of feels that slowly go away like throughout the movie, you know, having a little hope actually. So there's a little more nuance with that. I feel like there wasn't a lot of nuance in Mario, but I mean, I still enjoyed the ride personally, and I still had a meltdown at the end of the movie. So it's it did its job for me personally.
Yeah, I thought the finale was brilliant. I did really like that ending, and I remember that point that I forgot earlier, Dave, is that I feel like Bowser, the whole thing with like Bowser like not with the new world, not thinking like, oh, I can take over this world, is I think Bowser was just so heartbroken by Peach. Like she rejected him, and he's so power hungry, and he's like so hell-bent on destroying Mario because he's like, he took her from me, and heartbreak can do a lot of bad things.
Oh, I know.
Peach.
Completely unrelated. I don't even know if this is true, but it just came to mind that there was supposedly like a plot outline that was leaked, I want to say, like a while ago, or it started as rumors. Again, I'm not sure if any of this was true, but I mean, just thinking about it, I feel like I would have had much more of a fun time with the movie if it were the plot outline that they had chosen. But the supposed plot outline was that Mario goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, and Bowser tries to paint Mario as like this big bad guy, and everybody should stay away from him, and everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom is after Mario for Bowser trying to twist Mario into being like this villainous like guy that just came out of nowhere and like was trying to tamper with the kingdom.
I guess it's kind of like
That
the plot
sounds
of
very
Sunshine,
like
Super Mario
risky.
Sunshine.
but I love
Yeah, it is very much the plot of Sunshine in a sense, but
That
like
could be like a second movie plot.
but
you
like
know, they
I
wanted to
think the
sort of,
idea of, you know, Mario being this new guy in the Mushroom Kingdom, you know, people aren't gonna willingly trust him, and maybe Bowser has some kind of like priority in the kingdom in this version of the movie, and he just takes Mario and he's like, okay, Mario's a bad guy.
Yeah, that's the one question I would have is like, well, why would like the Toads in the Mushroom Kingdom believe Bowser? Because Bowser's
well, the Toads are kind of stupid.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Like Peach kind of said it herself in the movie.
it could.
They're defenseless little toads.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the Mario movie, the Toads were like kind. I mean, besides the main.
Yeah.
All the other Toads were looking at
The
Mario.
main Toad
like,
was fine.
Yeah. And I do want to get this in, by the way. If they do a Mario sequel, please recast Cranky Kong. I don't know what they were thinking with that casting decision. Cranky Kong should not sound like that. Like, everyone, no, please. Like, no. Like, I'm fine with most of the casting in this movie. I think Chris Pratt did fine. Charlie Day was brilliant. Anya Taylor-Joy did good. Everyone did good. But what was his name? Arminison? Like, something Arminison, whatever?
I don't even know who voices Cranky.
I don't have anything to contribute to that. I just never played Donkey Kong when I was a kid, so I don't.
I mean, Cranky Kong is like this old.
I didn't know
kind
Cranky
of
Kong had a voice.
Like they kind of went for like almost like from Madagascar, like King Julian kind of thing, where he's kind of wacky and got a weird voice and like, you know, like they kind of went.
He
for
sounds
like
he sounds old, but like he's too wacky.
Yeah, like he's too wacky for the character.
Yeah.
I mean, his name's Cranky Kong. Like he's supposed to be like cranky and
Oh,
old.
okay.
So that was a little bit of a
Yeah.
mess. But Donkey Kong's fine,
Alright.
and everyone else is fine. So
Yeah. I will say that I saw a leaked plot outline too for the Mario movie, and it was just 1,000-year door. I would love to see that.
I know that they cut Toadsworth. Apparently, Toadsworth was supposed to be in the movie, but they
Yeah,
cut him.
Toadsworth was supposed to be in the movie.
And
There was a
Birdo, I
bunch of
think?
concept art that came out, and there was a leaked storyboard animatic that came out that showed one of the scenes for how the movie originally intended was going to look. But I think that's been pulled from YouTube or something like that. But like it's basically like the Mario Kart section, but everyone's in like this double dash like style version of Mario Kart, and everyone's like fighting the Bowser troops in like these big ships with cannons. It looks really weird. Like Peach is riding on the back of Mario's cart with like a bullet bill launcher and like shooting bullet bills. It looked really crazy.
Yeah. Well, all they need to do is to adapt 1,000-year door, and the movie will be another success. So
The Luigi's Mansion section was supposed to be Luigi's Mansion.
that breaks
Yeah.
my heart. The fact that they didn't have like it was Dry Bones that Luigi was running from and not Booze. That
I mean,
was a
it's
waste.
it's a nice. Yeah, I will say it is very weird that they didn't do anything with Booze. I mean, you have the King Boo reference for sure at the end,
yeah.
but
I
like
know.
Boos weren't a prominent part of that forest, and you would think with Dry Bones being a big prominent like
Well,
mob there that the Boos would have been there.
I think it was Dry Bones because even though they're creepy woods, it's actually still part of like the lava world, like the Bowser lava world. So I guess that's why. But like, so the fact that there wasn't any haunted world, like that's why I said like in the
Well,
sequel.
that's why I thought
I
when
don't-
he went into that that's why I thought when he was going to go into that like castle area that was abandoned that maybe the Boos would have come out there and cornered him.
Yeah, but it was the Shy Guys
Yeah,
and Snippets.
It's
for
the
some
Shy
reason.
Guys, yeah. Really weird.
So
Wow.
should we
This
move
is a
on to
very
the Zelda
interesting
movie?
discussion,
Because we
actually.
spent a long time on Mario now.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize we would have so much to say about these movies.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like Nintendo movies definitely are a very interesting, I don't know, bullet point in
Yeah.
our bodies, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, video game movies are obviously on the up and up, and with the recent announcement of the Legend of Zelda movie, I just feel like this trend is just gonna get crazy in the next decade. We're gonna see video game movies for so many different franchises going forward.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't even touched upon the fact that so many other ones came out, not just Sonic, but I think Assassin's Creed had a movie, Tomb Raider had a reboot and things like that. Uncharted with Tom Holland in particular, that's the only reason I remember that one. And yeah, there's just so many movies coming out, but I have a feeling the Legend of Zelda could potentially be a real hard hitter. Regardless of the quality, I think the Legend of Zelda, if marketed correctly, can be a huge movie for Nintendo. Huge. Because I mean Mario, it's you kind of know what to expect of Mario, I guess you could say. It's it's gonna be a nice family friendly movie. But a Legend of Zelda movie, if they play the cards right, it could have as much hype as an Avengers level movie, in my opinion. Because Legend of Zelda as a franchise is just much more the stakes of a Legend of Zelda story are just so much higher than Mario one. That's just, it's just the way that the games are written. It's just the way that the lore is explained and things. It's multiple timelines and all this stuff. So much complexity and the storylines, despite the fact there's no voice acting. It's just Legend of Zelda is a beast, and Nintendo plays the cards right, at least marketing wise. I think it could be really big. But in terms of the actual movie, I'm very curious as to how they're gonna adapt it, because it's definitely a lot more complex to me than the Mario movie, in my opinion. I know Dave is just itching for a hot take here, but Zach, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there. I mean, the debate. I've seen two main debates online, and I know one of them we're really going to get into is who's going to be cast. Because I do think the casting is a very important decision. Because with animation, it's just people doing voices, so it's but with live action, it's all about the look. it's like there's a lot more that goes into it. So the casting, I'm assuming we're gonna mention that a little bit later, but
Tom Holland, let's go.
I will shoot you.
A big debate I have seen also is people are wondering if they should do an original story or an adaptation of one of the games. And I'm in the mindset of I think they should honestly do an adaptation of one of the games. I mean, I'm not bothered either way because I'm not like that big of a Zelda fan, so like either way doesn't matter to me. But I do think there are enough stories in Zelda, like there's a lot of them, to where like I think it'd be cool to see one of the bigger Zelda, or even one of the smaller ones, getting like a movie adaptation. Like, I mean, Ocarina of Time is kind of the obvious one, but like, you know, seeing like maybe like if they're like the Oracle's games that are lesser played, lesser known, that'd be cool to see them get a little bit of a prominent spotlight via a movie, or like Link's Awakening, I'm not too sure, but like there's some like games I feel like would be suited for a movie. And but I also wouldn't care, or I wouldn't mind if they did like an original story as well.
I almost feel like Breath of the Wild would be like the most like obvious choice, just because it is. Isn't that the best selling Zelda game, or is it still Ocarina of Time?
No, it's Breath of the Wild.
Also,
it's Breath of the Wild.
But like also like so it's not only is it the best selling game, but isn't that game? I'm not big on Zelda lore, but isn't that game like a prequel, like to everything that's happened?
And
or
the whole lore of
Skyward
Zelda
Sword?
is a whole big mess, so I don't even know if I can.
It's
answer
either that game
for
or
you.
Skyward Sword. It's like the very first one, but like it tells like a very like early. I know it's early in the Zelda timeline. Like that's what I've like gathered. And so if they wanted to adapt like a game, it would make sense to kind of go with one that's like earlier on. And also Breath of the Wild is like the most like probably the game that everyone would think about. You know, not just like Zelda fans, but like more casual fans too. They'd be like, oh, this movie looks similar to the Breath of the Wild storyline. So yeah, I don't know. But I think an original storyline would be interesting too. But you have so much lore that's already there. It's not like it's Mario where like you can't really adapt like a storyline for Mario without like really embellishing it and like really just creating you're practically creating your own thing anyway with Mario, because you adapted 64 and then like, well, you have to like add so much more into that movie to make it like a worthy movie. But like with Zelda, there's so much stuff that's already in there. If they can't come up with a good idea, they might as well adapt something. You know, it's already there.
What do you think, Dave?
Oh, Dave, you're just going to go ahead and spew whatever it is you're gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, I would be honestly surprised if they mess this up with how much lore there is for Zelda, but it is gonna sell just because of the title alone. Just like the Mario movie, it's gonna make money for sure. No matter how the film does performance-wise, it's going to sell because it's got Nintendo's name on it, and it's a Nintendo brand that is well known. But I have my issues with it because it's being produced by Sony.
I see. I do feel like, especially with the whole Illumination and Mario movie thing, I feel like Nintendo will probably have their hand enough in that jar to make sure they don't screw it up.
You see, you say that, but the writer that's already confirmed for this movie wrote Detective Pikachu, and the producer that they have for this movie was the producer for Uncharted. So I am very, 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 very concerned.
I will like. I'll continue to be the toxic positivity stand over here. When I say that, like, that is true. I feel like though with Detective Pikachu, like Nintendo might have been a little bit more hands off of it just because it was more new to them. They weren't as comfortable in the space. But like with the Mario movie, you can tell Nintendo was very intensely involved with it.
And
like all those references, like even like using like Mario like music in the movie and stuff, you can tell Nintendo like was very hell bent on making sure that movie turned out the way that they wanted it. And I have no reason to believe they wouldn't do the same thing to Legend of Zelda, because that's like at this point it's a franchise that's as big if not bigger than Mario. Like it's
I mean, it's definitely up.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's bigger than Mario.
I don't think
also,
it's a little bit behind Mario.
Yeah, but I will say I can't speak for the Detective Pikachu movie, but Shigeru Miyamoto had a heavy hand in the Mario writing, and I'm assuming he didn't in the Detective Pikachu writing. I'm assuming, and Shigeru Miyamoto is involved in the writing process in the movie of the Legend of Zelda movie. So I mean, because he's involved in the writing, like I'm assuming like if he's helping whatever the name of the writer is for the movie, I don't know. And that writer writes something that Miyamoto does not like, he'll be like, no, you fix that. Like that is not how this movie's gonna go.
You know, after years of seeing Miyamoto basically like color the Paper Mario series in black and white with the same characters, you know, very limited storylines and stuff. Miyamoto wants something, he will get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't know. You've already lost me with the Sony producing this movie, because as soon as I see Sony, I'm like, okay, nope, it's gonna be pretty average.
Sony's a huge ass company.
Sony is,
they make, like, half
yeah,
of the movies
but their
out
live
there.
action movies suck. Okay, there's no getting around that. Their live action movies
We need like
suck.
a list of like Sony.
Their
like,
live action movies recently have sucked. Did you see Morbius? The same director for The Legend of Zelda is the same producer for Morbius. So I'm very, very concerned right now. All right,
There's gotta be like one good movie
all right,
here.
and to adding on to the, should they do something based off of a video game that's already existing or something original? If they do Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, I'm not watching the movie because I just don't have any interest in either of those games. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be the issue of adapting one of the games. If you don't care for that particular game, it automatically turns you off. I mean, that's where I feel like
Wait, it looks like Sony's responsible for the Spider-Verse movies, aren't they?
Hot take: I dislike the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh, I thought they were
Okay,
good.
now that is a really hot take. Those are great movies.
Yeah,
No,
those are-
no,
I will,
no.
like,
I
go-
have my own issues with them. I'm not gonna get
Oh
into
my
them.
god.
Listen,
But
that's
the recent
second
one definitely makes me a little bit more upset.
Oh, I haven't seen the newest one yet. I just saw
I
the
like-
first one.
I like
Well,
the newest
good
one.
luck
I saw
watching. Good luck watching the second one because the ending could be very different from the very first showing of the second one.
Oh, I heard about that. There's like different endings depending on which one.
Because they
you've
keep updating the
Um,
film. They keep changing the
didn't
events
know
that
that.
happen
seen.
in the
DLC
film.
for films. That's so.
It's not
weird.
cool. It's stupid.
I didn't know that.
But like the first movie is a masterpiece, though. So
Not really.
The second one would have to be terrible.
Not really.
For me to
Not
like
really.
turn on.
Not really.
No,
Not
it is
really.
a
Not
masterpiece.
really.
I love
Not
it so
really.
much.
Not
Listen,
really.
I'm not a superhero movie guy, but like that second one, I really, really, really enjoyed.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's like. I guess we'll have to do a Spider-Man movie.
You guys can
Because,
handle the
clearly that would be a
Spider-Man
very
stuff
heated
because
discussion.
I don't want to touch them. All right, not touching either of the Spider-Verse movies. You guys
Oh my
can
God.
do it whatever
I
you
just
want.
finished watching like. Okay, this is really off topic, but I mean like. I literally just watched No Way Home for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and I like that movie. That was a really
I
good
like
movie.
that one.
I was like so like why did I wait so goddamn long to watch this movie? It was so like it was just like incredible. But anyway, I just wanted to say
No,
that
it's a great
because-
movie. I watched it in theaters, and I didn't know about the whole like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield thing.
Yeah, I knew
So-
that going into it, but it's like the movie still shocked me.
And it was so good.
with
Like I
other
was like,
things
oh,
that
it's gonna be
happened.
bad because they're both here, and that's all they're gonna focus on. But it was actually kind of good. So, not like top
Yeah.
tier, but like pretty good.
Yeah.
Just throw the Green
Zelda,
Goblin
Zelda,
in.
anyway, Zelda.
Throw the Green
I don't
Goblin
know,
in, and
like,
I'm
I don't know.
already hooked.
Spider-Verse to me is like example enough. Sony can't always mess it up.
Yeah, but
But, like, I'm sure they've had, like,
there is a major
Sony made
difference.
Stuart Little.
There is a major difference from an animated film and a live action film.
Sony made,
and might I also add, I feel so sorry for the animators and everyone that worked on Spider-Verse because I know you were overworked to death. So just
I
just
heard
putting that out
was
there.
not great. Yeah, I heard
Okay.
there was a lot of crunch and a lot of not great things happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's not okay. Well, I just want to put this in here. It looks like Sony was responsible for Stuart Little.
No,
That
you're
movie's a
not helping the
masterpiece.
case here, Riders. You're not helping the
That
case.
is a masterpiece.
You're
of a movie.
not helping the case.
Oh, they also made Ghostbusters.
Like you mean the originals?
I don't know. What does it say?
Well, because the
here?
originals were Columbia Pictures, right? Is that a subsection of Sony? I don't know.
Yeah, according to this, it's a subset of Sony.
'Cause they're-
Listen, this is the thing. Like, I understand
But
your
those are
argument, Dave,
different
but Sony is
times.
literally
Those are different
responsible for
times.
half of the
This is
movies
different
out there.
times.
I mean,
Sony is literally
This is
responsible for
different
half of the
times.
movie industry.
here's the thing.
Just like they're
These are
responsible for
different
half of the
times.
entertainment industry.
Like, I honestly, like, I would probably be in the same boat as Dave if the Mario movie, because I hate any Illumination movie. I've hated all the Despicable Me movies I've seen. I don't care for what Illumination does. I think Sing is done by them. Like, I haven't cared for any of them. But I like the Mario movie. And I'm guessing a lot of it is because they weren't in complete control. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same kind of deal here. Sony, yes, they're doing the movie, but they're not in complete control of what this movie's actually going to be. And
Yeah.
if it ends up being the fact that it's bad, Nintendo doesn't like it, if Miyamoto will be like, what is this garbage? No, take it back to the drawing board, we're redoing it. Like, I can see that being an outcome. I'm not saying that the movie will be absolute, like, the best thing
Oh,
piece
yeah,
of
no,
cinema,
no,
but I
for
don't
sure,
think it'll
for sure.
be bad.
I just don't think, as much as I like the idea of a live action Zelda, me personally, I just don't think a live action Zelda is needed. But that's just me.
Oh, no, it's not 100% not
And if they're
needed.
going with Sony, they had access to Studio Ghibli. So they could have made a really well anime inspired Zelda movie.
There's just something about live action that sells, man.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
for
because
some
it sells
reason,
in the
live
foreign
action,
market.
like,
The foreign
has
market,
people
the
in a
foreign
chokehold.
market loves live action films. They don't even care about the quality. But that's why live action has trumped animation almost all the time in theaters, because foreign countries don't really like animated movies, which I find bizarre, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
Damn foreigners.
No. I'm always an animation guy all the way. Like, I'll watch anime movies like all day long. Live action, it's a little bit iffy for me.
They're gonna
honestly.
really have to pull out some surprises for this cast, because
Low key, that's why like I think that's a major reason why like I really appreciate a Mario movie, and I'm also like a little iffy on the Sonic movies. Like it's just a personal taste thing for me.
I suppose.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I understand your concerns, but like my point stands that like Sony is a conglomerate, like has 10,000 billion companies under them. Like, I don't know. You can't. In my opinion, it's like just because it's Sony. Like,
I
it
feel
kinda
like I
doesn't
would have gone
sway
with a
one
different
way or the
company,
other.
but that's just me.
Who would you have gone with? Like, who would you say Nintendo should
Should
have
have gotten
gone
Universal again.
I mean, I
with?
guess that would.
What live action stuff has Universal done?
Universal's done some live action stuff. I can't really
Yeah,
think
name,
of
name
one
something,
off.
please. Name something.
Back to the
Name
Future.
something at
Back
least
to the
somewhat-
Future. The Back to the Future
That's
franchise.
that's from the 80s, man. You gotta think more modern
Okay,
than that.
okay, but
They
Sony.
did the Cat in the Hat, right?
But
Didn't they do the
writers,
Cat in the Hat
but
live action
writers, but
movie?
writers' argument of Sony being like, oh, they made Ghostbusters is perfectly
Yeah, I
fine.
know, and that
it's
argument is
perfectly
valid.
fine.
But I
Dave.
said Spider-Verse, which was like this century, so there
Dave,
you go.
they made the Cat in the Hat live action movie.
That's great. That's awesome.
Universal did.
What are you
I
smoking?
like that
I
movie.
liked that movie, but like, it's not a good movie.
Awesome.
I like it because it's a guilty pleasure.
Let
it's not
the
a
cat-
good movie.
What if they
Let the Cat in the
What
Hat
if they just got Jim
producers.
Carrey to play Ganondorf?
Yeah, just get Jim Carrey, play Ganondorf. He's got the nose for it.
Let's actually talk about that for a second. Casting. Who do you guys think should be cast for this movie?
To be completely honest with
honestly
you, I
don't
don't
know
have any
actors.
idea, because there are no actors right now in
Taylor
Hollywood.
Swift as Zelda.
All right, get out of here. The door is
Oh my
right
God.
over there.
I see it
The
in
door
my
is
head
right
now.
over there.
Lead single
The
from the
door,
soundtrack.
the
Taylor
door
Swift
is right over
so
there.
right.
All right. No, you know
Oh
who
my
they're gonna
God,
get?
you have to
They're-
admit
no.
though, she would be a beautiful
Yes,
Zelda.
yes, but they're gonna get an English actor, because if
She is
anything,
English.
British English,
British English.
because
Zelda's British.
yeah, in Breath of the
Well,
Wild,
in the games.
Oh really?
yes.
So
So
well, she got a British
again,
accent.
I-
because
I
of the medieval
do-
thing.
I do think
Yeah.
that they're gonna try and base it off Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because that is the most recent that Zelda has done, and considering that is how the games are gonna be going forward, it just makes more sense for Nintendo to do something based off of Breath of the Wild.
You're thinking Tom
Yeah.
Holland, right? Are you thinking Tom Holland in your brain? Is that why you're getting all giddy?
I'm trying not to, but I literally can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, see, those-
I just don't think he'd make a good Link.
No, I'm still on Taylor Swift as
Oh.
Zelda.
I will say I like you,
Taylor
Dave.
Swift a braid. Oh my God, yes.
I also struggled thinking of this, but I actually did something did pop into my mind of the casting actually for like Ganondorf. I forget. I don't want to butcher his name. It's the guy who voiced Knuckles in the Sonic.
Idris Elba.
Is it? It's Alba. I don't know why.
Okay,
but he
I
popped
could
into
see
my
that.
mind.
I could
He
see
popped into my
that.
mind
I
for
could see
Ganondorf.
him. Yeah, I could see him as Ganon.
Yeah,
So
I think he'd do a good job.
Yeah.
okay, good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I was
could
always half
definitely
scared
see.
you guys
I
be
could
like, what the
definitely
hell
see
are you
Idris
talking
Elba.
about, Zach?
I could see Idris Elba.
Yeah, because I know he's got like he's got a very deep voice.
He's deep
very,
voice,
like,
yeah.
I can see him as Ganon. But other than that, not a clue.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would just be so refreshing if they just like hired like up and coming actors.
I think that's what they're probably gonna do because there's just no one in
they're
Hollywood.
gonna hire big stars.
Yeah,
I
that's what they
don't
did with Mario
know
movie.
who right now.
They're hiring high class Hollywood
Look,
actors.
Tom Holland said he hated doing Uncharted, so he's out of the question for this.
Tom Holland's not the only Hollywood
I
actor.
know, but since Tom Holland
There's
is
gonna
on
be a
your
brand
mind,
new
I'm just
twink that's gonna
letting you
take over
know.
the-
I'm just letting you know he hated doing Uncharted, so if he were offered this movie, he'd probably turn it down.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like British actors that.
Timothy Chalamet's kind of like making some waves. Maybe him.
I have no clue who
Yeah.
you are talking about.
He played
He's playing Willy Wonka in the new.
Oh,
Willy Wonka
okay, yeah, I
movie.
can see him.
I can kind of see
like
it.
image wise, I can kind of
Yeah.
see it.
He seems a little too quirky though for Link. I don't know if he would. It almost. It
This
almost feel
really,
like having,
this
Eddie
really
Redmayne.
depends
Like,
on
kinda
if they're
too
gonna
quirky.
make Link that type of character from like the cartoons that he was when he's like, "Well, excuse me, princess."
Excuse me, princess. I don't know.
I don't know. Like image wise, I can see it.
I saw some they had fan cast or not fan cast, but I saw some an actress being shared around for Zelda, and like she looks the part. I just don't remember her name.
Yeah.
It was like Hunter
just-
something. Hold on, I can probably find it, but like,
Yeah.
oh,
I just think that like this movie really does not need like Hollywood actors to be successful. Like it could
mean, it
like
doesn't.
hire like some of the most unknown actors.
I
in the
can't
world,
wait for
and I
Chris
think the movie
Pratt
would
to be
still do
portrayed as
amazing.
Link. He's so cool.
Damn. He definitely does not have the image for it, unless he like maybe if he shaved.
Tell me
Hun-
about
Like
her
I
though.
don't.
Hunter Schafer is the people
Hunter
that they're fan
Schafer.
casting as Zelda. I have no clue who she is. I've never heard of her before, but like looking at a picture of her, like she looks like yeah, I can see that as Zelda. I can see her as Zelda. Like she
Yeah.
like yeah, I can see that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh my god! I just Google searched Taylor Swift Zelda.
No. What did you
Oh my
find,
God.
Ryan? Out of
It actually
mine
does...
is all the stupid, not safe for work fan fictiony thing that people have done. What did you find?
It doesn't look bad.
I mean, yeah. Again, I would say she makes a good Zelda for sure, but I just know they would not get Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she would not do it. I think she is a little. I think she's smart enough to know that that's not for her.
Fast forward to when they actually announced the cast and Taylor Swift is just randomly just boom, right
oh
there.
my god! Like if she got cast, she would write original music for it.
Oh no, that means it's gonna be a musical.
Let's go.
We don't need a Legend of Zelda musical. We don't need it. We don't even need a Legend
my
of Zelda
God.
movie, let alone a musical.
You ever heard her song for the Hunger Games though, Safe and Sound? I could totally imagine like a vibe like that for this movie. But I'll stop there. I think I've infected the podcast enough.
I mean, now that I'm thinking
My
about
Taylor
it,
Swift
music actually has always been a big part of the Zelda.
It has
games.
been,
The
yeah.
Ocarina of Time with the Wind Waker. Like there is a heavy
Music,
element.
yeah. Music is very prominent in the Zelda games.
So
Like very operatic, like cinematic feel to the music, I guess. So yeah, I mean, like, I think with Mario, it didn't really make a lot of sense to like have a big like song out there. I mean, Peaches. I guess you could. Peaches is the song, but it's not like a song that like you would like push to radio or things like that. You know.
I mean, I don't
you
know.
know, like-
I've heard some people playing that song. I've heard
It's
that
a
song
bop.
it's like
played
some
around for the
Spider-Verse.
memes.
It's a pop.
But like Spider-Verse, you had like that song with Post Malone and Sway Lee. I'm talking about like a song like in that sense that like would be marketed to like the general public and would attract people that aren't necessarily like huge fans like to the movie, just because they like the song. And so I kind of feel like Zelda you know, it wouldn't have that kind of song per se, but I could imagine like a very nice, like powerful, like orchestral ballad, like being like the face of this movie, and really like, you know, it could win like an Academy Award or like an Oscar for like, you know, best motion picture song or things like that. Like I could imagine like a very critically acclaimed song, like being the face of the movie.
Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I honestly, I could see like one sang song. Like, I could see one song like being like having vocals, having sing. I could see one from like Zelda, but like I don't think they would do like a full on thing.
Yeah, just like a song. So maybe Taylor would say yes because she's looking for that award. So when we came up with this idea for this podcast, it was supposed to be like a quick thing because it was like, oh, we don't really need to prep for this. We just need to watch like a movie, and then we can just talk about it. But it turns out it was like one of the most interesting discussions I think we've had.
Yeah,
so.
I'm kind of glad me and Dave didn't watch Detective Pikachu because I feel like that segment would have drawn on longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, not totally trying to excuse us not watching it, but you know.
I felt like I was just trying to like walk you all through it just so you could kind of remember what the movie was about. So I kind of took a little long to just explain the movie. But I think like a lot of interesting things from Nintendo coming up. And I mean, the Zelda movie is obviously a big thing, but like the floor is open for like so many other movies in the future as well. Like I could totally imagine there being a really like solid Metroid movie in particular. I mean, I think a Kirby movie would be great. I don't know if they do it, but I would love a Kirby movie.
I've tooted this horn before, but I think a Luigi's Mansion movie should happen. Especially when the Mario movies have like become mainstay, like having the script flip and have Mario be away. Like, you know, almost like the Puss in Boots movies, right? He's doing his own thing, Puss in Boots.
You know, one day I think they will go for a Smash Bros. Movie.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there.
I think it will happen.
No,
I don't know if it will be good.
No, I don't want them to. I don't want them to. But
they are not allowed
I feel
to.
like
it's gonna happen.
I
They're
feel
making all these Nintendo
okay,
movies.
well, I'm about to tell you something that's gonna hurt your idea of a Smash Brothers movie, as well as anyone else that's wanting a Smash Brothers movie. Because if they do a Smash Brothers movie, it will be only restricted to Nintendo titles. There would be no third parties whatsoever.
Yeah.
But see, that's the issue.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
the issue. Everyone who says that they want a Smash Brothers movie thinks that it's going to be just like Smash Brothers, where they can just throw in whatever video game character they want. But
that's
but
way too many characters.
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
I feel like Smash movie is kind of out the window only because I feel like the thing that kind of cemented that is with The Legend of Zelda being live action.
That too.
Like, if they did some sort of weird live action CGI hybrid, no,
I would throw up.
Sonic did it, I guess.
I think it's possible. I think it's entirely possible.
I
That's
don't
a huge
think,
moneymaker
I just
idea.
don't
There's
think
no way
Smash
Nintendo
Brothers,
would pass that
but
up.
see, the issue is, while it is a huge moneymaker, for sure, people will watch the movie thinking that it's going to be like, oh, they put the Sonic in.
They don't care about that, Dave. Nintendo does not care about that. They care about money.
But that's going to hurt people going to watch the film.
They don't care. I don't think
they're going to watch a movie.
Because I think that'll affect a certain.
You don't understand. Nintendo a company for profit.
I feel like and that's the thing. They're for profit. I feel like another hard thing about a Smash movie is, yes, they have Mario and Zelda, but they would also have to do like an Ice Climbers movie, and they'd have to do like for like the other Nintendo franchises that would make up the Smash Brothers. Like Metroid, maybe they could do Kirby, but other than that, I don't know how many Nintendo franchises.
I'm being honest. I think
Avengers.
And some of them didn't have movies. Like that Archer guy didn't have a movie, for instance.
I think I'm done with crossover movies. I'm tired. They've been done to death.
It doesn't matter if you're done with them.
It does matter. It does.
Nintendo is still gonna do it.
No, because even Disney is explaining that.
But this is not Disney.
This isn't.
This is Nintendo.
This isn't. But this genre crossover mashup multiple universe concept is a dying genre in Hollywood right now.
Because it was done to death.
It was done to literal death. No one cared.
Nintendo won't do it.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Nintendo
Make a stupid move like that. Sure, you could make some money, but
my argument is not about the quality. My argument is the fact that Nintendo is gonna do it.
But I don't think it'll make money.
I mean, I think the only
It
reason
will
I
make
think
money.
it
It
would
wouldn't.
work is because it's not. I feel like the only reason it would work. I mean, it would work for because Nintendo, but also because of the fact that Smash Brothers is an established thing. Like, it's not like Spider-Man, or like it's like, okay, like Spider-Man, whole big Spider-Verse. Sure, I mean, I think it was kind of an established thing in the past, but like it wasn't a big thing. Smash Brothers is a known kind of big thing, but I do still think it would be a stupid move.
It
I
would
do- I
be
still
a
agree, it would
horrible
stupid
move.
Dave, I want you to say right now on this
Okay.
podcast
I
recorded
will.
that you will, if they announce a Smash Bros. Movie,
Well-
you will not watch it.
Yep, that's right. I'm not watching it.
Okay, you will not be curious enough to ever watch
Nope.
a Smash Bros.
Nope.
Movie, even if it did
No.
come out. If it got like 99%.
Let me
on
ask
Rotten
you,
Tomatoes,
what would the plot of the Super Smash Brothers movie be? What would the
Like,
plot
I'm
of the
not-
Super Smash
like
Brothers
a
movie be?
subspace embassy thing. Like they all come together, they all gotta like use their own abilities, and you already know the characters, so
Listen.
now they all gotta get along and defeat whatever force is trying to attack them all.
Listen, I will say this: that like I don't like the Avengers movies. I don't like them because there's too many characters, there's too many plot lines to focus on.
What do you
have
think
to
will
watch
happen
too
with the
many
Smash
movies in the
Brothers
background
movie?
to, like,
I
so
mean-
like I agree with you, but my curiosity will be
My
too great. I
curiosity
will
is
wanna
out the
watch
door. My curiosity is
I
out the
mean-
door.
I would
Like
be.
I said, my argument is not about the quality. Like
I'm
the
not
fact-
talking about
I'm just
quality.
arguing
I'm
about
not
the
talking about quality or
existence.
anything. I'm just saying that the entire
Yes, you
idea,
are.
the entire idea of a Super Smash Brothers movie is not interesting enough for me to go and pay money to watch it.
Okay, so we have this documented right
Yes.
here. They will never
And
see a Smash
That's
Bros.
right,
movie.
because
I'll
there will
also
not
make it a
be
short,
there will
so-
not be a Super Smash Brothers movie, and I will die on that hill.
Oh yeah, I don't think
Alright.
there's going to be one. I think I also will go. I don't think there's going to be one, and I don't think there should be one. But we'll see what Nintendo does.
Again,
I feel
maybe a few years ago, sure, would have been awesome. Now, no.
This is the thing about trends is that they're always cyclical. So they get tiring now, but like in 5 or 10 years, it's gonna be on the up and up again. Like that's just how trends are, in like any entertainment industry. So like crossovers may be a dying breed now, but I guarantee you, people are gonna be into it again, like 5 or 10 years.
I'm
From
not
now.
saying that
And it's
that
probably gonna
that-
take them
that-
5 or 10
for
years
sure,
to make a Smash Bros.
for sure,
movie.
but Smash Brothers is not getting a movie. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
I mean,
I will bet it's gonna happen. There's no way
alright,
Nintendo would pass that
alright,
opportunity. No
I'm-
matter how
alright,
much of a hot mess it is,
alright.
Nintendo will not pass
All
it.
right, all right.
I'm still not willing to sit through a Kid Icarus or an Ice Climbers movie to make that possible. Like,
Exactly.
I'm
Like I
not
said,
doing
I don't
that.
think it would be a great movie myself. I think like the whole idea of crossover movies like are just kind of like a failure like from the start because you cannot have a movie that focuses on so many characters like that. Like it's just you can't tell a good story based off of it. I've watched like a few Avengers movies and I'm like this isn't a great movie. Like people are just buying into the hype basically. But I will say that like people do the exact same thing with Smash Brothers. Like they will buy into the hype.
I feel
I
like
don't
it
think
depends
so.
on how it's
Like,
written.
people-
I don't
feel
think
like
so.
it could work if it's written a certain way, but
It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
I
People are gonna buy into
genuinely
the
don't
hype.
think people are gonna buy into the hype though,
Nah.
because the
people will definitely
thing,
buy into
the
hype.
thing,
Look at how
the-
popular Smash Bros. Ultimate
okay, but
is.
you want to know why Smash Brothers Ultimate is so popular? You want to know why?
I know it's because of all the characters.
It's
that's
because
what
of
you're
all
gonna
the third
say,
parties.
But it doesn't
It's
matter.
because of all the third
People
parties.
are gonna be curious about the crossover event.
I would not
People
be.
are gonna be like Mario
So,
interacting
so
with
you're
Zelda?
telling me you'd much rather them make a Smash Brothers movie than just a Fire Emblem movie? Because that's exactly what the Smash Brothers movie is going to be. It's just going to be a Fire Emblem focused
Like I
movie.
said,
I would not watch that. I
My
would not
point
watch
is that the movie's not going to be that great in my opinion. Like I agree with you. I don't think it'd be a great movie, but Nintendo will not pass up the opportunity.
I think they would.
They know that
I
that's a
think they
money
would.
making game.
I do not know. I do not think they see this. They know it's a money making game, but I don't think they see this as a money making movie.
I disagree. I think the opportunity is just too great. They're not going to resist.
The
it.
opportunity
They're dipping
is
their toes
great for
already with
sure,
the
but
Mario
I
movie and the
just I
Zelda
think
movie.
executed as an idea that would not do as well as you think it would. I do not think it would do as well as you think it would.
I feel like I read an interview somewhere that they're already talking about Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
Well, yeah, the cinematic universe
So,
doesn't
like,
mean that they have to make
it's
a big
already gonna
crossover
happen.
movie. The Sonic movies are having a cinematic universe that's all connected.
Yeah, it's already gonna happen.
But-
you already got the pieces coming together.
But
for
they're
it.
not trying to cross over with any other Sega titles. It's just going to be a big Sonic cinematic
Well,
universe.
we're not talking about Sonic. We're talking
But
about
that's what I'm
Nintendo.
saying. Nintendo Cinematic Universe doesn't mean that we're going to get a huge crossover movie where all the franchises come together
What's the point of a cinematic universe if you don't have a crossover?
to have
movie?
your properties
It's
be
gonna
turned
happen.
into blockbuster
It's
movies.
gonna make money.
Yeah,
it could be the worst movie in the world, but it's still gonna make money.
Or they can even have just like a crossover between Mario and Kirby, or like a two-way crossover instead of everyone coming together.
I mean, that would make money anyway.
Yeah.
Not as much money as a Smash Bros. Movie, but it would make money.
I mean, like that's the thing is like I'd be down for like a little collaborative like one-on-one crossover, but I feel like a Smash movie because you'd have to make a bunch of movies. It'd be big build-up. It would be too much. Like a little crossover. Okay, cool. But
I agree. You know, I don't think it'd be a good movie, but
I mean, I still think it'd be a good move for Nintendo to do.
Nintendo Nintendo a business.
I know Nintendo's a business,
idea, they're gonna go
and
for it.
if
but they make some silly
my business point of view, I'm not that much of a business guy, but I could see Smash Brothers just not being as appealing for the general audience.
That's just not right, in my opinion. The name Smash Brothers has so much notoriety in this community. People hear Smash Brothers and they go insane.
But that's the Smash fan base.
A Smash Bros. Movie will make headlines. People will not start talking
about it. Well, yeah, because
if
people are going to be talking about this movie as if it's Smash Brothers Ultimate. Going, oh, I'd like to see Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, I'd like to see...
doesn't matter if it's not.
Metal Gear Solid in the movie. And then see what's going to happen. What's going to happen is people are going to go watch that movie, right? And they're going to be like, this movie was okay, but it didn't have Sonic the Hedgehog in it. It didn't have all the third-party characters in it that you would want for a Super Smash Brothers movie.
My argument is saying that like it doesn't matter if the movie's gonna be good or not.
I'm not talking about quality. People are not gonna line up to watch a Super Smash Brothers movie.
People have to go watch the movie to find out if it's good or bad. By the time people find out it's a bad movie, it'll already have made $1 billion worldwide.
No. I
This is the reality.
It made 500,000 max.
That's the. Oh my!
You've killed Riders.
I'm sorry, Dave. In all my years I've known you, that is the most delusional thing I've ever heard from you. This movie, it would make billions.
No, it would not make billions.
It would not make.
It wouldn't even crack a billion.
Okay, maybe millions.
It would
not billions.
The Mario movie made $1 billion, and that's the Mario movie. Like that's the big.
The Avengers movies are the highest grossing movies of the Marvel universe. So I have no doubt the Smash Bros. Movie would be the highest.
Do you see how long it took us to get a live action Zelda movie?
I'm saying. It'll take us like 10 or 15 years to have a Smash Bros.
Do you see how long it's taken?
Would it be worth it?
Will be all ready for like a crossover movie again. It's gonna take like 10 or 15 years for it to come out.
I don't think people would want to watch it.
I don't think so. I mean, like that's the thing. I don't think with superheroes, all of them. If you read the comics, if you know that, like all of them, like you have Spider-Man, you have Doctor Strange, you have the Hulk, and like all of them have a decent cult following in the superhero community. Seeing them all come together, wicked. Nintendo, you have Mario.
You just had to bring up a Smash Brothers movie, right? You just had to bring up a goddamn Smash Brothers movie.
See, we didn't plan on talking about
that. It won't make money. That is just
it's not going to make money.
I think it would make money, but I just don't think it'd be worth the endeavor of Nintendo doing it. Like,
exactly.
If it would take 10 to 15 years to develop.
Crossover movies are so hot. It doesn't matter when you put them out.
I don't know. Like it's you have to plan on Nintendo developing movies for every single character they want to be in the movie. Because like Dave said, there's no third-party characters.
There's no third party.
Like, you know. Like, there's no third party. So you have to rely on Nintendo characters. So, okay, which ones would sell well? Mario, Zelda, Pokemon. Okay, you got 3. Fine. Kirby and Metroid are kind of like on the fair. Think of like maybe they sell well. I'll put Splatoon in there as well. Like maybe they do well. They're kind of, we don't know. Then you have things like Pikmin, F-Zero, Kid Icarus, Ice Climbers. They're not gonna do well as movies.
You guys, you're thinking like.
No, we're thinking from a business standpoint.
Yeah, we're thinking like, okay, if they're gonna do a Smash.
I guarantee you that like if they ever made a Smash Bros. Movie, they probably include like 5 or 6 franchises max.
But that's what I'm saying. Only 3.
But that's more than enough to be a successul movie.
But then it's not a Smash Brothers movie. It's only Legend of Zelda, Mario, Pokemon.
That's how many franchises win the original Smash Bros.
No, you have Kirby. You have freaking F-Zero.
It had like 8 franchises.
Earthbound. Yeah, there's a lot. Because more than 3.
And like you don't need a movie for every single franchise that's represented there.
And what would be the point of the crossover?
It could be some of the characters' first appearances.
What would be the point of the crossover?
Yeah, like
It
it's
is
not
a
an epic.
crossover.
But
But
what
it's
would
not
be
an
the
All
point?
these
epic cross.
Nintendo franchises.
What would
'Cause
be
it's
the
all
point?
different
Okay,
franchises.
but
It's
but
a
the point of a
crossover.
crossover movie, right, is to
You
get
guys are
no
thinking
no no
about
no
this
no
too
no 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 no
literally.
no. The point,
A Smash
the
Bros.
point,
movie, they can
the
be as flexible as
point
they want
of
with
a
the idea.
crossover movie is to get people to go watch the other movies that these crossovers are coming
This
from.
is too literal.
So, okay,
you
hold
don't
on.
need to do all these rules.
Pause.
To make this movie.
Pause. Writers. So what you're saying, I think I'm getting what you're saying, is to just do a Smash Brothers movie with just a bunch of Nintendo characters thrown in.
Yeah.
But
That's
here's
all
the
they have
issue
to
with
do.
that. Here's the issue with that. How the fuck are they going to write something decent for all these characters? Are they just throwing... That's
Again,
why more...
This is my argument. You guys are not listening to my argument. It doesn't matter if the movie is shit. It's gonna sell
But
well. That's why they'll do it.
But they're not going to... Okay,
not
here's
gonna
the
do
thing.
that.
Nintendo have some standards. They have some standards. They're not going to throw out something that they know is
They
literal
probably
trash.
won't make it shit, but they're going to try.
They will not try.
They
They will
try,
not
It just
try.
does not
Too
make
good of
sense.
an
It
opportunity.
does
It is a
not.
horrible opportunity.
I don't think
If
they
it makes
would do
money,
it.
it's not a horrible opportunity.
The only-
it's a great
The
opportunity.
a
only
bad
way
opportunity.
the only way I could see
It
that
doesn't
working
matter.
is kind of blending the two sides of this, is if they did a movie for Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and let's say
They
Metroid.
don't need to.
But they
don't
would
hold on,
a
need
movie
to.
for
Hold on,
every
hold
franchise.
on,
They
hold
would
on, hold on.
need
Now you're not listening to my argument. Hold on. So they make movies for those four things: Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Metroid, whatever. They have a crossover movie, and that's where the other characters show up. That's the only way I can see that working. And if they do a movie for all those four, and then, but even still, I don't think they would do that. Because then you would need another Pokemon movie and another Zelda movie that are both animated, because they ain't doing live action animated. They ain't doing that. So
They can.
It
that
would
would
horrible.
be garbage fire.
Look at the Sonic movie.
That just, yes, Sonic's different.
you
Sonic
can have
has
CGI characters in live action.
Not a
But
CGI
it
Mario. What's the point of
Like
having
I
a
said,
CGI Mario?
Doesn't matter if it looked horrible. Like, I'm sure Nintendo would try to make the movie good. But like, my point is they will try. Because the revenue potential is too great. They're gonna probably take all the time in the world on it because, you know, like, they don't want it to be like a flop movie, you know? They
But
don't
it,
want it to be like a terrible
initially
movie.
is already
But
set
it
up to
probably
be
won't
a
great
flop movie.
I don't know. I think they could do it.
I don't
think
think
they could
they
make
could.
it like a decent
I
60% Rotten Tomatoes
genuinely
movie.
don't think they
60%?
can.
I think it could be a decent 60% Rotten Tomatoes movie.
No, it'd be worse.
I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not.
But like, my point stands. They will try.
No,
That's my
no, they
ultimate
will
argument.
not.
They will try.
will
it's
not.
too people. I don't think they're gonna do it. You
It
know.
doesn't matter how difficult it is. Nintendo is the most successful gaming
We're
industry
not
company
talking
right now.
about quality.
If there is one
We're
company
not
that can
talking
do
about
it-
quality. We're talking about the opportunity. They've passed up the opportunity already, and you know they've passed up the opportunity already.
If they
They
were
passed
gonna,
up the opportunity on a Mario movie, but they came back around it. So like, with all this newfound success in the Mario movie and the Zelda movie when it comes out,
But then-
they're gonna
but-
have dollar signs
But
in
then
their
why
eyes.
would they do the
It will
Zelda
happen.
movie in a completely different form with a completely different
Like I said,
studio?
you're
They're
yeah,
doing two
you're
different
comparing them.
studios.
Exactly.
One's
They're
doing all
Illumination,
these
one's
rules.
Sony.
Do you realize how much money they'd have to spend on licensing to,
Yeah,
to
like,
their
now you have
own
Illumination and
properties?
But,
Sony,
like,
two different
Nintendo
studios thrown
is a
into the
billion-dollar
mix.
company. They can afford it, and you're
But that's
thinking
the
they
thing.
have to follow
How
all
much
these
would
rules.
they spend on
They
this
don't need to
movie?
follow these rules.
But how much would they spend?
they-
If you're talking about the business side of
You know
things, how
what?
much would they spend to make this possible?
I'm not in the industry. I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
You're
But
saying
that's what I'm
I
saying.
know
It would
that,
cost
like,
millions and millions and millions for both
every movie
studios to
costs
be-
billions of dollars. You know,
Because
how much
then you have to have
every movie
Illumination
costs.
develop the animated side of things, and then Sony would have to do all the live action side of things, and whatever
Literally,
studio they
no.
get to do whatever
There
the
is no
future
From a
movies do.
business standpoint,
It could be one studio doing
from
all
a
this
business
stuff. It doesn't
standpoint,
have to
the
be
amount of
studio
money that
made this
Nintendo is
movie and
putting
this
into
movie.
this movie, the amount of money that Nintendo would put into this movie, they would not make back in
Yeah, because
production
there's
sales.
the animation and the live
Nah,
action, which would
I
be
think they would.
expensive.
No, they would
Because you have to
not.
pay
They would make $1 billion.
animators
They would not
and
make $1
camera
billion.
people. They would
They
not.
would make $1 billion.
And then the casting.
would be too
you would need to
curious.
get Chris Pratt back. Whatever movies they have for the
You're
for the
following too
Zelda
many
movies.
rules. You don't
But
need to
you're
follow
talking
any of
about
these
the
rules.
money, and that is the money right there. The casting,
don't
the
need to follow any
animation,
of
the
these
live
rules.
action stuff. You do. That's what makes the movie
Follow-
They don't
expensive.
need to follow any of these rules.
You're
If they don't make money
Right.
in the long run, then you don't need to follow the rule.
But you're saying it makes sense for them financially because it's Smash, it will sell. But it won't make that money if it costs too much to get all the actors, to do the
So they'll find
animation, to do
solutions.
the live
They won't get all the actors. They'll find their own solutions.
But But what would be the point of crossovering if you can't get the actors that actually made those characters what they were in the movie?
And you guys think it costs way too much to get all this stuff? Like, I don't know if it's actually going to cost all that much.
It would.
You know, they'll probably only get like Mario.
It wouldn't.
You guys, we can't argue that point because we don't know the financials of this stuff. So
But
you can't win
that's
this
what I'm saying.
argument.
But you're
can't win this
arguing about the
argument.
financials of this. You're saying it would make them a bunch of money. How would you know? You don't know if it would make them a bunch of money because the crossover thing very much is
He's
kind of...
basing it off of the
My
fact that
argument is
Smash
that
Brothers
it
is
will-
well
They will
known.
try it. My argument is that they will try it.
I don't think
It's
they
too
would.
good of
I
an
don't think they.
opportunity.
Let us know. Would you watch a Smash
Yeah,
Brothers
let us know in
movie?
the comments.
Would you waste
And I want
$12
to wrap this
to
up
watch
20
a
minutes
Smash
ago.
Brothers movie?
Literally like dancing all around these different things, like taking my argument to all these different
What
things.
you're
when
saying,
all I'm
but the
saying is
reason
that
the
they
reason
will
we're
try
doing
it.
that is because you're saying from a business standpoint, in your opinion, Nintendo would take up the opportunity. We're trying to show you reasons why they would not be taking up
It
that
wouldn't
opportunity.
make sense.
You just like it's a crossover movie, a Smash Bros. Movie.
Needed.
Like that.
It's not
That has a lot of
needed.
power. It doesn't matter if it's not
It has
needed. It's
power,
gonna
but
make
I
money.
don't think it'll have enough power for what...
I think
'cause
Maybe
Nintendo,
it'll flop.
Nintendo...
It could flop.
Okay,
I'm not gonna
okay.
say it will not flop. It could
But
flop.
you have to look at it from
Nintendo will
Nintendo's point
try
of
it.
view, right? Nintendo's thinking, all right, this would be a huge gamble. It would have to, because it would
It's
be
not a
expensive.
gamble.
It is a
Yes,
gamble.
it would be expensive.
It won't make money.
Every movie, the Mario movie is a gamble, the Zelda movie is a gamble, every movie they make, every game they make is a gamble if they're trying something new. Like, some games are very play it safe because they know it would sell, like 2D Mario, whatever. But things like Splatoon back in the day, those are gambles that they are putting, like, their faith into. And all these movies that they're doing are all things that they're putting their faith into that people are actually going to go out and watch. Now, yes, the Mario movie and potentially the Zelda movie are going to give them the confidence to do something more. But I'm still not sure about that one. I don't know if
I
they're
don't
going to be
know.
having the confidence.
I
Like,
just
right,
think that
so
like
all these Nintendo
you
characters.
are right thinking it's not a good idea.
It's
I
not.
don't think
It's
that's
not.
right
Okay.
either,
Okay.
because
Okay. Take the Mario movie for example.
I'm not talking.
No, listen,
we have to cut out the
listen,
quality
listen,
out of it.
listen.
We have to
I'm
cut
not,
the
listen,
I
quality
have
out
not
of
said
it.
the
listen,
quality
listen.
once. I've not said the
I'm
quality
literally
once.
talking about no. I'm like really like you're not listening
I
to my
am
argument.
listening
It's
to your
literally,
argument.
Like no, because you keep bringing it back to the quality
It's
aspect.
not the
of it.
quality
And
aspect.
it's
I have-
just not.
I have not
I'm
mentioned
talking
quality
about-
once. I have not mentioned quality once.
This is like about like the fact that Smash Brothers is a very identifiable name. It's a name that attracts a lot of attention. And I just don't see a universe where Nintendo won't
so
at
you're
least, like,
saying-
consider.
So you're
making that
saying
movie.
Nintendo would take the risk of making a Smash Brothers movie, even if the Zelda movie did so well enough for them to make a sequel. They would choose to do a Smash Brothers movie over
Oh,
giving.
they would definitely do in that case.
And here's the thing, though, right? How would that be accomplished? Because then you have to think from their side of things, right? How are we going to make this Smash Brothers movie work?
Well, that's up to them to figure out. But they're like $1 billion company.
But
If
that's
anyone can
the
figure it out, they
thing.
can.
Would they be willing to put all that time into figuring out an idea that could end up not working? Because then you have to figure out, right, this is a Smash Brothers movie, so we do have to get other Nintendo IPs. Yes, we have Mario, we have Zelda, they're done. Whatever. Forget the differences of live action animation. Forget putting that to the side. You have those two characters, you have that established. You have to get more. You just have to. Like, yes, I'm not expecting third parties, but you do have to get other Nintendo stuff. And you do have to develop them well enough beforehand, because you can't just throw all these new Nintendo characters into a movie and just... Because, here's the thing. Yes, Nintendo fans will eat that up, but the general audience will not care. And Nintendo needs to needs to keep that in mind, the general audience and the Nintendo audience. So they need to have these characters already be somewhat established to where people kind of already know them, especially the lesser-known characters.
That's a good point. And that's why, like, I don't think, like, Kirby would necessarily be, like, the face of it. I think they would market the movie heavily with Mario, Zelda, and Pikachu.
And that's why I was saying, like, if you wanted to build up this universe, like, you can't do a Kirby movie, or maybe a Kirby movie, but you can't do like a F-Zero movie. You can't do movies with a lot of Nintendo franchises. You can't really do that. And just throwing them into a movie without giving them much development, it doesn't for Nintendo. It's like, how would you make that work? And I don't know if they'd be able to figure that out. I mean, maybe they could, but and again, how much worth it would it be to do it? Like I said, that's why I think maybe doing it with a few franchises and having the rest be side characters makes sense. Having Mario and Link team up, or Mario, Link, and Kirby, or something small like that, and having some other Nintendo characters thrown in, I think that makes sense. And I think that could work. But having a thing where it's focused on all these Nintendo characters, I don't see them doing it. I don't see it working out for them. For a 2-hour movie, less than that?
It could be a 1.5-hour movie, honestly.
Well, yeah, exactly. That'd be even worse.
Exactly.
They could the Mario movie, right? They worked out. They did just Mario. Only Mario got any kind of focus for a character. Luigi, Peach, Toad, Bowser, they were very minimal. Like, I don't know how that would work.
I don't know. I just think that like because of how big Smash Bros. Ultimately became, like people would probably be thinking like, oh, it's gotta include like 100 characters and things like that. And like my point is like it doesn't. It could literally just include like the flagship Nintendo franchises and that's it. And they could just focus on telling a story with just like Mario, Link, Pikachu.
But see,
Kirby,
that's the reason why people
Samus,
wouldn't go and see it.
Whoever else. No, they would still
No,
see it.
that's
because the curiosity would be too great.
No. The reason
this is the point where we're like we can't like agree because we're saying that like people would not be
my
curious enough to see a
argument-
Smash Bros. Movie, and that's just wrong.
But you just said, you literally just said, the reason people are excited for Ultimate was because of all these third parties, right? Now that you're removing the third parties away from that makes Ultimate exciting, I don't think people would be interested in watching the Smash Brothers movie.
You see,
I
that's
don't
just
think-
a fundamental point we don't agree on because Smash Brothers is a very powerful name. I think the name alone will attract people to go and check out the movie.
I am inclined to actually kind of agree with writers here that I feel like the third parties don't have like in Ultimate, yes, they were a big deal, but in Smash Brothers as a franchise, third parties weren't really even brought in until Brawl, and even then in Brawl it was like, oh my god, Snake and Sonic, and it's like, okay, that was it. But then in
No.
Wii U they actually
but
started to bring in
again,
some more.
Smash Brothers didn't become more prominent until they had those third-party characters to begin with.
What? No,
I
Smash
would
Brothers was
disagree with
big
that.
in
I
Melee.
would disagree with that.
I'm
Melee
is one of
was
the most
huge.
popular
Melee-
games of all
Brawl
time.
was very popular.
Okay.
I would
Yeah,
disagree
no.
with that.
See,
And
this
Wii
is
U,
the
I mean Wii
fundamental
U,
point we can't agree with.
yeah, everyone was playing Smash Brothers Wii U, and Smash Brothers Ultimate sold so well because it's on the Switch.
Smash Brothers is a very powerful
Look,
name.
I don't have the mental
It doesn't-
capacity to keep talking about this.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm tired.
I'm just like I don't know. I just like that's the fundamental thing that we disagree on. I think that like ultimately like the curiosity is just too great. People will be curious to see it. Like you could have thought Mario movie could have been like the worst thing in the world, but you still want to see it because you still want to see how it turned out.
So I think seeing a Mario movie would be more interesting, but that's just me.
I got 3 words for this argument. We will see. We'll see what Nintendo does.
I also
feel like
have
this could be
3
its own
words for this
podcast.
argument. It's not happening.
Dave, I'm trying to end this discussion. Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
Look, it's up.
Yeah,
it's up to writers to say something that will provoke it even further. Not me.
And I will say this that like curiosity is very powerful. And so people will simply come and want to see the movie just because Smash Brothers is a big name. Smash Brothers is so popular that Nintendo is trying to shut off its tourneys. Its tournaments.
Because they're
You know
not
what I
making
just
money
realized?
off of them. That's why.
You know, I realized we've probably also ruined our comment section with this argument.
I don't care. All right. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't know. I'm pretty stubborn about this, to be honest.
Oh,
I will
glad.
argue. I will argue Super Smash Brothers all day. I
You're
don't
basically
care.
saying Smash Bros. Is not impactful enough to attract an audience.
Basically,
That's basically what you're
the
saying.
general audience, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Crossovers are money makers. Why do you think every single like? Okay, no.
Yep, that's right.
I'm glad
That's right.
I have more than a week to edit this because this is going to be hell.
I feel like this should be its own discussion.
Well, we kind of put ourselves in the corner, but you know what? It's fine. We'll just release a really long episode because
This could. Yeah. I feel like we shouldn't do final thoughts, but like.
I mean, movies.
Nintendo movies are money.
Five Nights
makers,
at Freddy's
is my
movie
final
was
thought.
great. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah, we wanted to touch on other video game movies, but I don't think we need to at this point.
Yeah.
Stay
Like,
tuned for that in a future episode.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, Nintendo movies are here to stay. So, we will see many more of them coming out soon.
And I can't
And who
wait to
knows?
see what Sega has in works.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're doing a third Sonic movie, right?
They're doing
Isn't
that. They also
Yeah.
announced I think a Streets of Rage a while back, or showing interest in doing that. Then Like a
Okay.
Dragon is potentially getting a movie.
Oh wow, Jesus Christ! All right, Sega.
And Persona. Persona's looking into media
Well,
outlets.
I can't wait to see if Taylor Swift stars in any of them. So
Does Taylor Swift have any acting credits?
Yeah, she does.
yeah,
She does.
she was in Cats.
She was in Cats, and she was in like a Valentine's Day movie. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, with Taylor Lautner.
Yeah.
You lost me at Cats. You lost me at Cats.
You know,
She's got an acting
She's-
career.
yeah, she wants to be a. Well, she wants to be a director now. She wants to make movies.
Maybe she'll direct the Zelda. Okay, we're not gonna get into that.
Nah, that's already confirmed. That's not gonna happen. So maybe what would she direct? Maybe she would direct a Metroid movie.
No, she's Zero Suit Sam. Or well, I
Yeah,
guess
she's
just
Samus.
But
Yeah. All right, y'all. We're gonna cut this off. I hope you enjoyed.
2
a
hours
very heated
long.
discussion. I actually think I got very heated. I'm a little afraid to watch this back, to be honest. I think I got a little heated.
I mean, I think we all kind of did. but
My
I
blood
feel like
started
it-
boiling when she said
But you know,
Smash
like,
Brothers.
this is what this is all about. This is literally like, this is literally what the podcast is all about.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
the purpose of the show. And hold on, let's also disclaim something here for people who don't know us, like in case someone just comes up and watches this. We're all good friends. We all love each other. So like
Yeah.
when we argue, it's all
Dave
in
and
good
I have
fun.
arguments like this
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. Don't take things too seriously.
Yeah. You should see us when we argue about Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2.
These are
That's
just
that's gonna be an episode. So
these are
look
just
forward to
the
that.
opinions of 3 different dudes. You know, just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah,
good
so-
friends. We're chilling.
All good. I mean, Dave's wrong, but it's fine.
Yeah, Ryder's is wrong, and it's all right.
They're both wrong, so we're all good.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye, guys.